wanted to run. He goes, I don't have those same types of athletes. With the height, with the size that we have, he said, we really want to slow it down, get post touches, and wear teams down. I'm thinking of the old Pat Riley phrase when he was with the Lakers, and he wanted to run, and he complained nonstop about how teams in the East were constantly fouling, and they were roughed up, and you didn't hear the whistle as much as some of those finesse teams in the West did. Then he becomes the coach in New York, and all of a sudden his teams play that. And he took more than good-natured ribbing from the media about it. He goes, hey, you coach what you got. And that's exactly what Coach Kaczmarek is doing this season.
Yeah, and I think you have to give Coach Kaczmarek a lot of credit because even to his days back at Cardinal Stritch, they were an up-tempo team trying to get 25 threes a game. This is the team that's going to try to get 25 layups a game. And there you see right away, they're able to draw the contact. Veteran official Joe Allen there with the call. And St. Francis will go to the charity stripe just 9 seconds in.
Didn't take very long as that foul's going against Josiah Jefferson. The Jefferson is the heart and soul of this Spartan team. 18 points per ball game. As at the free throw line, deep breath. And Brown uses every bit of the iron, but gets this one to fall. Raheem Brown averaging nearly 11 points and 3.5 rebounds per contest this season. Second is on the way, and this one, the Draperies swish. And the Knights out to an early 2-0 lead, and here comes some token on-ball pressure. We're going to see Ja'Kai Jefferson bring the ball up the court. We may list them 1 through 5, but in all honesty, you've got, in effect, 5 guards, maybe 4 guards and 1 partial post on the floor for start at any time, but they'll have to play to these strengths, and that's spread the floor, open up some driving lanes, and let your guys do their work.
Yeah, these guys are interchangeable, and there's a nice take and finish inside. So great answer by Start there as they quickly get on the board with Jefferson connecting from 5 feet out.
Ja'Kai Jefferson listed at 5'8", and he's the 5-man on this roster. So it tells you a little something about Start's, what should we say? Well, let's just call it lack of height. Posting up in the low blocks, they're going to flash Horton. And we got a whistle. That is how St. Francis wants to play tonight, as the foul will be charged against Preston Edwards. Edwards at 6 foot is one of the taller players on this Start roster, and he's given up almost a full foot.
And you're right, St. Francis, they want to get touches in the paint each and every possession. There they go to the big man there.
Triple team, but that's going to leave somebody open on the backside. In this case, it's Brown, and he lays it up and in.
What a find by the 6'8 sophomore, Alan Horton there, is he's going to draw a lot of attention down there in the low block, but unselfish play there.
Boy, it's getting physical out front. Jefferson blows by, but then kicks it out. St. Francis in a tight zone. 360 spin move goes trickling off the right side by Josiah Jefferson and out of bounds.
Great job by Vince Ferguson. You know, he's that really lockdown defender there for St. Francis. He did a great job forcing a tough shot. No chance for the Spartans to come up that rebound.
So 4-2. This might be a bit of a heat check as around the world it kicks out on Soroka. One and done. Jefferson wanting to run, but 5 blue jerseys get back in good transition D. Ja'Kai Jefferson drives. The dish. Long 3 by Pierce is long, but a long board kicks out. We'll see how patient Start is tonight because they want to run. Sometimes when a team really slows things down on you, you start to make mistakes, or worse, force them when they aren't there. We'll see how Start handles it. Now, that was a nifty drive and dish, but I'm not sure Edwards was ready for the ball. I think he was crashing for a board. A rare fast break opportunity at the other end, and it's going to be a blocking foul as Vince Ferguson. They're going to call that a shooting foul?
Yeah, I believe that's going to be a shooting foul. Once again, a pretty good take there by St. Francis. They did a nice job of getting the ball deep in the lane, that time via the dribble penetration. And once again, a pair of free throws coming up for the Knights.
At the charity stripe, this is going to be Ferguson.
Ferguson just 1 for 4 on the season, a small sample size, but last year he shot just over 56% from the stripe. That one comes up empty.
Yeah, at the high school level, Usually you want 65% or better. Anything over 70, most coaches will do backflips over. As the second is on the way, it's too hard. Being tapped around, and look at that. Horton tapped it to himself. He'll kick it back out and reset their offense.
Yeah, and St. Francis just 49% as a team this year from the stripe, so that's been a kind of a sour spot for them, but their ability to rebound has kind of offset that this year.
Boy, Horton really posting up big in the low blocks. In effect, that ends up being a screen for Brown, but it's a little too strong. Great athleticism to save it, and they'll reset their offense. Corner three. Goes begging deep, and the third time was not a charm. And here's a chance to run for start. Jefferson going coast to coast, sent into the stands by Horton.
Welcome to the block party. That time, Alan Horton, great transition defense. He timed that perfectly. Boy, he was on top of that basketball when he swatted it out of bounds.
Inbounding on the baseline, that ball was deflected. It will remain start ball, same spot.
You know, Brent, the one thing we're going to see from Start consistently tonight, they're going to attack the rim off the dribble. And there you see a good dribble drive there. The short pull-up rims out. Great job by the Knights holding them one and done.
Oh, I thought Brown had a lane there after that crossover, but he elected to stay back and keep the ball out. So Royka thought about it. Boy, this is going to be a heat check and way off the mark by Heck.
Yeah, I think Start's more than happy to give up that long three and not have to defend the Twin Towers inside.
Boy, after 4 quick points, all of a sudden, St. Francis has gone chilly. Likewise, just 1 basket on a nice drive on their first offensive series by Ja'Kiah Jefferson for Start. And Horton sends another one back. Elevating, and that was a tough move, having to go high off the fingertips, and Preston Edwards in the books.
Great job there by Edwards. He comes in the second leading scorer for the Spartans, averaging just north of 11 points per game. And there you saw a little bit the reason why. He's got some great verticality there, a lot of athleticism. This is going to be another foul on the Start defense, and that's going to be foul number 4. So from here on out, the Knights will be in the penalty.
Eric Pierce has just picked up his second, and he will check out. First substitution of the evening for the Spartans. It's going to be Joseph Stallworth checking in, a 5'10 senior. He averages 9 points off the bench. Getting into a good low defensive position. Soroka signaling the offense. Off a screen, Brown lost the ball. Nice baseline cut, reverse layup, just a little too high. Heck, trying to find the range tonight. For as up-tempo as this game has been, and maybe even a little bit more so than what St. Francis wants, both teams' defense have been doing the bulk of the work, though, in the early going. We had a low-scoring contest, Scoop.
They really have. They've get into them defensively, but they've also been very physical, which has changed a lot of shots, made it a little bit more difficult.
Oh, great ball movement. Nice pump fake. That's going to be 2 at the line. Connor Michele.
Now that was a well-executed pick and roll that time. Just as you practice it, nice bounce pass to Michele there. And he takes it up strong, draws the contact. Now Start with an opportunity to take their first lead of the night.
Brown his first. Team foul number 1 as the first free throw was up and good. Second is on the way. It's pure. Talk about patience was the question I had for you. Can Start be patient tonight? And they have, to the tune of a 2-point lead right now.
Yeah, I like what they've done. They really haven't forced anything offensively, and they've got some good dribble penetration inside. They just haven't been able to finish against this tall Knight defensive squad.
On the ball, defensive pressure, and Heck gets bailed out because he was in a world of trouble. A little too much hip. I believe this one's going to go against Ja'Kiah Jefferson, and that'll be his second.
Yeah, that was a mistake that time by the Start defense. They really had a great trap set up near the sideline, but they bailed him out. when you saw the step-through move from Jamison Heck. But, Heck, he's a guy that, he's got some D1 schools that have been taking a look at him. He's a solid player, very high basketball IQ. There you see him hit the first of two from the charity stripe.
He's kind of the straw that stirs the drink.
Well, I've really liked him the last couple seasons. As a freshman, he was honorable mention all track, and last year as a sophomore, second team.
Listen to you, all track.
All track.
In another 5 years, people are going to go, what's that? Oh, it was a shame to see that dissolve.
Now the defunct Three Rivers Athletic Conference. A lot of those schools were absorbed by the NOL and a lot of them by the Catholic League up in Detroit.
Yep, that interstate league between Ohio and Michigan. So 6-6 our score, 2.5 left to go in the first quarter, and Start is slowing it down. Jefferson setting the offense that he wants to run. First cutter through, second cutter, nothing doing. Start's offense looks like it's kind of coming to a grind a bit here, Scoop.
Yeah, and credit St. Francis defense, but I like how Start's not forcing. You got to remember, Start lost 95% of their offense from a year ago, a team that ran the table in the City League at 10-0. But they're showing some discipline here in the half court.
Posting up, down low, going against Horton, now releasing. Long three, that was good ball movement. They were patient, got the shot they wanted. And look at this, quick hands almost led to a steal on the outlet.
Well, this is what Start likes to do. They'll pressure even after a missed shot. You saw it there, a near steal.
Boy, Brown double clutches. He went hard to the iron, but one and done, Edwards. And again, look at that. 4 blue jerseys back quickly, and Start elects not to press the issue.
And right now, Start's doing an excellent job of rebounding. I thought that was an area where they could really get exploited in, but it's not really been the case here in this first 7 minutes.
Boy, fadeaway 18-footer by Edwards, and it's one and done with Horton underneath. St. Francis, we know, wants to really slow this tempo down. Heck being dogged hard by Jalen Brown, who's checked in. Brown at just 5'8", but he gets after you. Horton posting up. He's got the defense on his hip. They finally get it to him. Nice pass back, and in the middle of the paint, no good. Offensive board once, twice is the key for Vince Ferguson.
Yeah, and that was the concern of Start coming in right there. Second and third opportunities from ground zero. And a nice putback. And St. Francis retakes the lead. Now you wonder if Start might hold for the last shot here.
Well, a little bit of a look, a little daylight. Running one-hander, though, was a little strong by Stallworth. Rare fast break opportunity. Look at this, and finishing at the other end, Jamison Heck with his first basket from the floor.
Well, you can see why Jamison Heck's getting some Division I looks. Just great body control. Did a great job protecting the basketball. Made that look easy.
3 seconds, 2 seconds. This is going to be a fadeaway three, is long by Jefferson, and we've come to the end of the first 8 minutes of play. Well, the tempo is what St. Francis wanted, as they're up by 4, 10-6. The second 8 minutes. When we come back, we'll take a quick First Insurance Group timeout. We're back with more of the second annual Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Coming out of that First Insurance Group timeout, time for a Mark Moats Ford stat summary as the first 8 minutes in the books here at the second annual Grube Classic at Defiance. We're in the dog pound, and this place is going to be packed, certainly later on tonight and certainly tomorrow. But as it stands right now, St. Francis leading Start 10-6. Again, our Mark Moats Ford stat summary. Not a lot of scoring, as you can imagine. Jamison Heck with 4 points, including a pair of free throws for the Knights. Likewise, Raheem Brown, pair of free throws with 4 points. And Vince Ferguson rounding out the scoring for the Knights. 1 basket from the floor. On the flip side for the Spartans, a deuce apiece for Preston Edwards and Ja'Kai Jefferson, and 2 for 2 from the floor for Connor Michele. What do you have for turnovers there, Scoop?
Well, just 2 apiece for each team. St. Francis was able to get 2 points from the defense as they converted one of those turnovers into an easy layup at the other end. But I think that's something Start has to maybe force the issue a little bit more here. They want to try to pick up the tempo and try to get points for defense. Here's going to be a quick timeout, just 18 seconds in by the Start Spartans.
I didn't like what they saw. This is just a 30-second timeout, so it's going to be a little bit less than that, so we will just go ahead and keep it here. 10-6, our score. Again, the Knights entering tonight's contest at 4-1. The Spartans undefeated at 5-0. How they got here? St. Francis knocked off Memorial by a point to open up their season, 46-45. 45-27 over Liberty Benton 2 nights later. Last Friday at St. John's, a tough 56-53 loss. It's the most points they've given up so far this season. The very next night, they bounced back going into the City League and taking on Waite with a 65-21 win. And then last weekend at Central Catholic, it was like molasses in January. Neither team was able to really get going. It was a free throw shooting contest late, but the Knights held on for a 43-41 victory. On the flip side for Start, a 63-62 winner over Centennial to open up the season. And at Scott, 45-37. At Rogers, 43-35. An offensive explosion last Friday night versus Waite, 67-51. And then at Northview, a 43-38 victory. But what I'm seeing there, with one exception, Scoop, nobody scoring above 60 points against Start. So as much as we talk about their offense, their defense has been pretty strong in the early going.
It really has. And I think both these teams' DNA is a little bit different than it was a year ago. Remember, Start has won the last 3 City League championships, and they've been really up-tempo. But we talked about how they graduated 95% of their offense from a year ago. So they're not afraid to get in that half court. We're seeing that here tonight. And their defense has been awfully good.
Long 3 at the top of the key. That's Tawan Carter. Dribbling out of a little bit of trouble, Soroka. Down low, you see one Horton, you see a second. This is Logan Horton, a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker. Second offensive board, also short on 3 tries. The ball taps out to Soroka, and they'll reset.
Yeah, 3 good looks inside and Start trying to be as physical as they can. Now they shoot over the top.
Boy, a rare 3, at least compared to what they're used to. 5 tries, and they come up empty, and it looks like we're going to have a foul to prevent the breakaway transition.
Well, St. Francis, wow, they had multiple opportunities there. You mentioned it, Brent, 5 of them, but Start dodges a bullet. You know, right now, Start trying to get something going offensively. Remember, St. Francis closed out the first quarter on a 6-0 run, so you have to go back just over 4 minutes to last points by Start, and those came at the free throw line.
Being notified by Josh Bush at the scores table, there's been a jersey change from what we have been given. It's a long 3, goes begging off the right side. Connor Michael, forget the E at the end, is now wearing 21, so he is not 11. There's been a jersey swap. So number 21 is actually Carter, now wearing 11. So Tawan Carter is now 11. We'll have to double check then who's number 11. Something is a little off here. Eleven is now wearing 21, so that's Michael wearing 21. Okay, we'll see if we can't get this sorted out. In the meantime, a lot of pinball out of bounds. Score remains 10-6. Not quite 3 minutes into the second quarter.
The Start defense is really keeping the Spartans in it right now, and I've been impressed with their physicality, especially on Jamison Heck, who can take so many people off the dribble. They're doing a great job kind of rerouting him out of the lane and trying to body up to him when he takes that pull-up jumper off the dribble.
So Michael reversing the ball. Flashing, they lose him. Now, he had a second, but they just didn't see him. And with the 6'11 Horton in the middle, a second is all it takes for him to recover. Into the high blocks, they're going to attack him. Dishing off. Start trying to get a little bit more aggressive, and that's good ball movement, but that's what it's going to take with those bigs in the middle. And Edwards with his second basket from the floor.
Yeah, great job by Edwards. He's that zone breaker. Starts had a problem attacking that zone since the Knights went into it. And that's the first points they've gotten off that zone.
And an offensive foul. Well, interesting. Foul's going to go against Vince Ferguson. And that is his second.
Now, once again, very solid defense here in the half court by the Spartans. And they forced the turnover there via the charge. So now a chance for Start to go off on a little run and retake the lead. Something they haven't had since 6-4 early in that first quarter.
Boy, a long and a high pass, and unfortunately, Jalen Brown at 5'8" couldn't pull that one down.
That's the one thing Start has to be careful against that St. Francis zone defense. They've gone away from dribble penetration. They have not got a lot of touches inside. And when you throw those skip passes against a lengthy team, those can be dangerous. That one ends up in the second row.
Horton trying to post up big down low and on the drive, and St. Francis just a little out of sync. Another turnover. This time Brown dribbles it off of his foot.
Well, that's something that's really plagued St. Francis coming into tonight. They were averaging just over 15 turnovers per game as a team. You know, talking to Coach Kashmerick, he wants that number, you know, single digits. He wants that near or below 10. And right now, just too many lost possessions. Again, I think you have to credit the physicality from Start from causing some of these turnovers.
Well, and that's interesting because right now offense is at a premium. Coach Warren, the interim coach for Start, sent an email earlier saying 11 turnovers or less for the entire ball game. So I think both coaches realize one possession might spell the difference tonight.
Yeah, I think for Coach Warren, I think that was his biggest concern, was taking care of the basketball. For the most part, they've done that. They've been ice cold shooting it.
Boy, nice move by Horton without the ball, but he got too far underneath the backboard. Ball kicks out, and St. Francis going to slow it down again.
Well, there's that physicality by Start, forcing Horton kind of in no man's land there behind the backboard. St. Francis fortunate to reset it, and Coach Kashmerick is going to burn a full
He's not
timeout.
happy. You can see right there, the gentleman all in black, unhappy with his team's offensive performance right now. Timeout on the floor, First Insurance Group timeout. We'll break with them. Back with more of the Grube Classic right after this on DCTV Sports. .312 left to go in the first half. Well, at the end of the first 8 minutes, it was 10-6 St. Francis. We are over halfway through the second quarter. It's 10-9 St. Francis. What's been the difference through the first half of the second quarter here for the, I don't want to call it, I'm trying to think of a good adjective, just non-existent offense for both teams?
Well, credit to Start defense. They really have taken away the lane from St. Francis. That first few minutes of the opening quarter, St. Francis got some dribble drives in there. They got a lot of nice isolations to Horton inside, but since that time, they've had to go from the outside. And this one rims out, but once again, St. Francis with another offensive rebound.
Soroka gives it up. Horton back to Soroka at the top of the key. Horton wide open underneath, and I'm not sure what happened. Did that ball roll up his wrist a little bit, or did he anticipate contact? I think he may be called for an offensive foul. Nope, they're going to say he was fouled.
Yeah, that time they finally got the ball inside, and credit that timeout. That was what the timeout was for, the fact they'd gone away to those isolations on the low post. But that time they're able to spot up Allen Horton. Nice matchup. Anytime you can go to 6'8" and athletic down the block, you're going to take it. and he draws the contact, the first of two up and in. So that's the first point of this second quarter.
Yeah.
St. Francis went over 5 minutes before they're able to dent the scoreboard. But incredibly, they still find themselves up by 2 points.
That's because Start has only managed 1 3-pointer from Preston Edwards here in the second half. So.
Yeah, Start's been ice cold, and St. Francis, I love how they went to that zone that took away that dribble penetration because Start was attacking the rack, playing downhill. They had a good inside-out game going there early, but since that zone's come into play, it's really forced these guys out of their comfort zone a little bit.
Start has outscored St. Francis here in the second quarter 3-2, and yet they trail by 3. It has been molasses in January. Both teams have gotten some pretty good looks, especially St. Francis. Speaking of one, there's one in the middle of the paint. Nice pump fake. Nice job by Edwards to draw the contact and take your pick as a trio of blue jerseys all crashed down on him.
And great recognition by Start. St. Francis, I think maybe to pick up the intensity, they went back to the man-to-man right there. And credit Start. They're able to get nice penetration inside. They got a good look. They draw the contact.
They're going to call that on the floor. So Grayson Pollock picks up his first for St. Francis. Lob pass out to Edwards in between the circles. And Start has really slowed things down. You get the feeling that if it's not there in transition, well, now as I say that, good aggressive move, 360 spin move, and just a little long off the fingertips of Stallworth. Here comes Brown. Pollock surrenders it. Soroka to the far corner where they are fronting. They are putting 2, 3 white jerseys all on Horton. Grayson got a good look there, but Pollock couldn't find it. Open look for 3 from the right wing. Nothing falling for either team right now. Pierce smacks his hands together. That was about as open a look as they've had in a while.
Yeah, they had able to catch and shoot in rhythm, but again, just seems to be a lid on it down there. Hard to believe Start is not in double figures here as we near the 1 minute mark of the half.
That's a tough move on the drop step, the tip. Are they going to call that ball in the cylinder? Is that going to be basket interference? I think so.
Offensive goaltending, I believe, was the signal there. So St. Francis, once again, they've had a lot of looks inside. They really have had a lot of offensive rebounds as well, but they just have not been able to get the putbacks. And right now, just a one-possession ball game, and Start will bring it up against a little token half-court pressure.
Buck 10 left to go in the first half. Oh, he's picked up his dribble across half court. That's a cardinal sin. He's lucky to get rid of it. Pierce double teamed right now with St. Francis ratcheting up on ball pressure, and it looks like Heck has picked up a foul.
You know, that time St. Francis invited that basketball right where it went, and they quickly double teamed. And you mentioned it, certainly a cardinal sin. You cannot pick up the ball in that trap area. Start very fortunate to get bailed out by that foul. And that's the 4th foul of the second quarter by St. Francis, so the next one will put the Spartans in the bonus.
See if they're aggressive and try and pick it up. Jefferson kicks it back out to Josiah Jefferson, spots up from 18, and again, just a lid on the basket. Both Jeffersons, by far and away, the most aggressive off the dribble for Start, as that's a forced pass by Soroka. Another turnover, and this is going to be free throws. Trying to prevent the breakaway layup. Heck has picked up his second foul, but it's team foul number 5.
Yeah, that's the foul you really don't want to commit. But, again, credit Start. They finally got a chance to get out in transition. It's hard to get transition when you're giving up second and third shots.
Yep.
That time they're able to come up with it right away. No hesitation.
But Ja'Kai Jefferson scored on the first offensive series for Start, and it's been few and far between since as he drains his first free throw. This to try and pull the Spartans to within 1. At this point right now, Scoop, it almost looks like a race to 30, doesn't it? Second, did that even catch iron? No, I was going to say I didn't hear a whistle. It looked like an air ball, and it was.
Yeah, that's the correct call right there from veteran official Joe Allen. That ball did not hit the orange at all, so it ends up being a violation. And now St. Francis
You expect the final shot here?
I would think so. They're also going to get the ball to start the third quarter, so you want to go into the halftime break with a lead, plus you get the ball to start third quarter. You can really give yourself a shot in the arm if you can execute here in these final 10 seconds.
They're taking the air out of the ball, but now they got to put their offense in motion. 7 seconds, 6 seconds. All kinds of on-ball pressure, and is it a turnover or a foul? It is a turnover.
Great job by that start defense. Took away the middle once again, forced the ball to the sideline. They got good ball pressure. The 4th turnover of the second quarter by St. Francis.
Jefferson will launch a half-court shot. Doesn't come close, and we have come to the end of the first 16 minutes of basketball. Wow. That second quarter was attrition. Just plain attrition. Start actually outscores St. Francis 4-2, and yet they trail by 2. Our score at the intermission, Knights 12, Spartans 10. We're going to take a quick timeout. We're back with your Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. You're watching the 2nd annual Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Well, we are back in time for the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. It is year number 2, game number 1. Now we can call it the 2nd annual because it's not the inaugural Grube Classic. This is a 4-team tournament, pre-conference, pre-Christmas. This season consisting of the host Defiance Bulldogs. They'll be taking on Anthony Wayne. The Generals lay in wait for head coach Bryn Lehman and company immediately following this one. But right now, the opener, St. Francis, leading start. A couple of Toledo area teams. Low scoring affair, 12-10. Knights with the lead. Let's take a look at your Mark Moats Ford stat summary. There's not a whole lot with a 12-10 ball game. 4 points apiece for Jamison Heck and Raheem Brown for the Knights. 2 points for starting power forward Vince Ferguson. 2 points for Logan Horton, their 6'11 center off the bench. That 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Those were the only points for St. Francis in the second quarter, and they didn't come until 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. On the flip side, Preston Edwards leads all scorers with 5 points. He drained a 3 midway through that second quarter. 3 points for Ja'Kai Jefferson. He scored the first basket of the ball game for start. Just about 60 seconds in, he was 1 for 2 in the second quarter from the free throw line. And Connor Michael, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. All right, Scoop, What do you have for turnovers and points off of turnovers?
Well, for turnovers, St. Francis, the first half, just had 6. I think that's something Coach Kazmarek certainly going to be happy with. On the flip side, Start had 5 turnovers. They're probably happy with that stat as well. Neither team really able to score from those turnovers. St. Francis was able to get 2 points in the first quarter off a Start turnover. Start is yet to score off a St. Francis turnover. So I know that's something they want to try to change the second half. But again, they're right where they want to be. The biggest lead has been 4 points. And the way these offenses have played and the way the defense have played, I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of separation here in the second half either.
No, and I'm going to call it. First one to 30 wins this ball game. Now, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, that is the tempo that St. Francis wants to set. They want to slow it down, half-court style of offense with a 6'8" and a 6'10" center. We haven't seen them on the court at the same time yet. They wanted a slower half-court game, more post touches. On the flip side, Start gets the bulk of their offense in transition, but with only one player over 6'1", rebounding against the size that St. Francis has is going to be extremely difficult. So here's my question for you. If you are interim coach Tareem Warren and Start, how do you at least, even a small step or two, get the tempo more to your liking?
Well, I think you really have to attack off the dribble. I think dribble penetration is going to be their best offense here. And even if St. Francis is able to stop that, I think you can go inside out. I think you just don't want to go east and west here. I think you need to attack the rim, maybe force the issue a little bit more. We've seen that this is not the best shooting team from the perimeter for Toledo Start. And that's okay if you have the ability to go to the rack, which I think they do. So, again, they don't have a lot of size, but they do have all 5 guys out there are really guards, can break you down off the dribble. So I think you try to find that matchup. You can win one-on-one on the perimeter. You take it to the rack, and then you go inside out.
We're going to continue to break it down. Again, that was your Mark Moats Ford scoring stat summary. We have 4 minutes left to go before we resume second half action. More of the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show right after this. It's the second annual Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. No, stick around. We give you some FaceTime in the background. There is nobody anywhere we go that this man does not know. We welcome you back. The Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show continues. We're a little under 2 minutes away from resuming second half action here as St. Francis leading Start by 2, 12-10. It was a battle of attrition, especially in that second quarter. Again, Start actually outscored St. Francis 4-2, and yet they still trail by 2. Now, Scoop, you can look at this one of 2 ways. Nothing's falling, and it's been a real grind. It can be frustrating, but at the same time, you're in this ball game. You are far from out of it.
Yeah, I think right now a Toledo Start has to be the one that's most pleased with the first half. You know, they're one possession away from this thing. they've really have neutralized the inside game, which they thought was going to be the biggest challenge because St. Francis just wants to get touch after touch. They want to pound inside each and every possession, but Start with their physicality has not really allowed that to transpire. So Start doing all they can. This is not the most gifted Start offense that I've seen, and this is a great Start program. You got to remember, Toledo Start, the last 8 seasons, 128 wins, just 40 losses.
Yep.
So this is a team that knows how to win. They have to do it a different way this year, but right now they've got it done here with their defense being really physical. They just have to find a way to get that lead off the basket. Maybe changing ends might be the recipe they need.
We'll wait and see as the final 30 seconds ticking off the halftime scoreboard clock. We're going to take our final break of the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show, third quarter, when we come back on DCTV Sports. Whistle sounds, ball is inbounds. St. Francis will have it to start the second half as we welcome you back to the Dog Pound, Defiance High School Gymnasium. Opening game of this year's Grube Invitational. About 15 minutes following this one, we'll have the second half, our nightcap, as Defiance will host Anthony Wayne. We'll wait and see who plays up the winner's side of the bracket here, but right now it is anybody's contest in a defensive-oriented, low-scoring first half. The Knights leading the Spartans by a pair, 12-10. Again, Alan Horton getting the starting nod at center. And again, a good look, but just couldn't find it. Diving out of bounds to try and save it for Starts, and Michael couldn't quite do so.
Well, you can see right now the physicality continues to bother St. Francis. That time they got a good look inside. I was surprised they let Horton put the ball on the deck. I thought once he put that ball down, they would just swarm to it. But he got a good look. But another second opportunity coming up here for St. Francis as Start was not able to secure the rebound.
Nice crossover by Heck. He dishes back out to the big man. Heck, nice job to recover. And that's a great right to left step in for a three. That's a Premier Bank three-pointer. And that almost feels like a dagger. 5 points the lead for St. Francis.
Remember, Heck's a guy that can go off any time, averaging over 13 points a game coming in, shooting over 40% from beyond the arc on the season. Boy, that's a welcome sign.
Nice movement without the ball. Michael, though, has it go off of his hands. And there's where the length of Horton really giving Start problems. And Michael, one of the 2 tallest players on this Start roster, and he's just 6 foot. And he will dejectedly head to the end of the bench. He's not happy right now. Trying to add to a 5-point lead, Ferguson at 6'3", pretty thick, keeping his dribble, but he's stripped. Look out. Oh, my goodness. What a job to pick it and then keep the dribble all in the same hand by Josiah Jefferson. He's fouled out near half court, or that's an easy layup.
Well, I love it. Great job by Josiah Jefferson. There's a guy that's probably known for his offense, but that was a stellar defensive play. Got a clean pick there, and that was going to be a run out, so probably a really good foul there in transition defense by the Knights as Start will reset it near the timeline.
Soroka picks up his first, team foul number 1 for St. Francis. Nice baseline drive by Jefferson, and looks like Ferguson caught too much of him. If that is Ferguson, he's now entering foul trouble. I've got him for 2 in my book, and he's just picked up his 3rd.
Well, that's the one thing we talked about at halftime, that maybe Start has to make that adjustment, trying to attack the rim, playing downhill, and that time it does draw the 3rd foul. So, boy, this is the golden opportunity for Start with still 6 and some change to go in this 3rd quarter. And one of their top defenders is going to have to sit probably most of this 3rd quarter, if not all of it.
Jefferson in between the circles. The big man Horton is out on him, and he's going to take him anyway. Fades and throws to nobody. Was he trying to draw contact there, or was he just maybe a little too aggressive?
Well, that time he was trying to create, but once he did that turnaround, he realized he's got Alan Horton, the 6'8" big man, all over him. So he tried to dump it inside, but no one expecting that pass. Another start turnover, their second in the opening 2 minutes of quarter 3.
Brown in between the circles. He's got 4 points on the evening. He'll go to the corner. Heck was feeling it, trying for another 3. Ball being tapped around, and Heck Johnny on the spot. Nice pass down low, and Brown lays it up and in.
Great job by Heck that time to not only come down with that offensive rebound, but drops a dime inside. Second chance points, something St. Francis would love to get here in the second half, something they were denied in that first half.
I don't want to call it an insurmountable 7-point lead, but with the way this game has played out, you kind of get that feeling right now unless Start really gets something going. Jefferson tried, but it wouldn't fall.
And still,
Heck almost walked.
Just no offensive rebounds for Start. Combined with cold shooting, boy, that's not good math for your offense.
Nope. Brown thought about using Horton as a screen. Horton, little pinball. Are they going to count this, or is the foul on the floor?
Yeah, they're going to rule that foul on the floor, so that's going to be a break there for Start. As that time Alan Horton got the bucket to go, but excellent call. I think that foul was called earlier. There's a nice
inbounds.
entry.
Grayson Pollock now in the books.
And right now, just a barrage of offense by St. Francis. But again, 2 of those baskets have been from ground zero, breakdown in that Start defense.
9-point lead, largest for either team. Start still looking for their first points of any kind here in the second half. Edwards trying to force it into the low blocks. It's deflected. Picked up by Michael. Kick it out, a long 3, halfway down. It kicks out, and Jefferson shaking his head. He thought he had it.
No, that was a good inside out, and there's another forced pass.
Another
Start
turnover.
Comes up. See if they can get some transition points here for the first time tonight.
A little too much shake and bake in the corner, and Edwards will dribble it out in between the circles. Halfway through this third quarter, Start still looking for their first points of any kind here in the second half. Back out up top. Brown testing the waters. I thought Jefferson might drive. Instead, baseline move there by Michael, and he's fouled. Heck dropped down to help, and if that's Heck, that's his third. And it is.
Yeah, that time Heck all over the arm there trying to block that reverse layup. So now decision time here for Jamie Kazmarek. Boy, Heck's a guy you really need to have on the floor. He's that floor general quarterback.
Connor Michael hits his first free throw. He's got 3 points. They're all from the charity stripe tonight. Substitution. Stallworth will check in for Edwards for Start. And at the 3:44 mark, it took over half of the third quarter. The Spartans now finally in the scoring column as this one rattles in and out.
Yeah, that free throw ended a 7-0 St. Francis run.
Nice move. Oh, wow, pretty finger roll by Pollock, but he couldn't finish. Loose ball picked up by Horton. Oh, look at that passing. Brown turns and fires. He's fouled.
Tremendous job that time. Just one of those 50-50 balls, a hustle play. They came up with the offensive rebound, then a couple quick touch passes. Was able to beat that Start defense, and once again they get a good look inside. They draw the contact. Now Raheem Brown, the junior, averaging near 11 points a game, goes to the stripe. First one hits heavy off the back of the iron.
Very heavy. He's a 60% free throw shooter entering tonight's contest. He was 2 for 2 before that last offering. Second is on the way. It's also long. Nice crossover by Jefferson, but nice defense even with foul trouble by Soroka. And it's one and done. Soroka really being dogged by Brown. He'll put it on the floor, and well, he made that shot a little more difficult than I think it needed to be. He got no resistance. I think he thought it would, and he double clutched.
You're exactly right. I think he was expecting contact. It never came, so he ended up making that extremely difficult. Another break for Start. If they score here, it's a 2-possession game.
And they do. From beyond the arc, Joseph Stallworth with his first points of the evening, and a 9-point deficit has now been trimmed to 5.
Well, Stallworth, they'd love to see get on track, but there's a quick answer at the other end as Grayson Pollock is able to score once again from ground zero, lead back up to 7 for St. Francis.
2:15 and counting, left to go, third quarter. Start trying to stay in this one. Not quite sure what the offense is here. They line 3 flat up at the free throw line.
Well, they're really running 5 out right now. You have to be careful because you're just going to really be out of position for any offensive rebounds. But no rebound needed when you're shooting the ball like that. So consecutive 3 balls by Start, a Premier Bank 3. And don't look now, but the lead down to 4.
This is unbelievable. This game all of a sudden has some life. It has some energy. Horton down low. I thought he was going to dunk it, but instead he gathered it and made the smart move to make sure his footwork was there, and he lays it in.
No, his footwork is excellent that time. Just a tremendous drop step there. Nice finish inside. And St. Francis comes up with a big answer after that Premier Bank 3.
23-17. A minute 10 left to go here, third quarter, and Start now slowing it down. If transition hasn't been there tonight, they just aren't rushing. And to be honest, it looked like St. Francis was about to run them out of the gym here in the third quarter, but a couple of big threes, one by Pierce, one by Stallworth, has put them right back in it.
And remember, this run by Start has come with Toledo St. Francis' best 2 defenders on the bench, so they really have to make some hay here the last 40 seconds of quarter 3.
Long 3, open. It's a little low. Jefferson, I think he wishes he had that one back. It looked like he rushed it a bit. And now with 30 seconds left to go in the quarter, we'll see if St. Francis elects to take the air out of the ball.
You know, unless they get a layup, you'd have to think they're going to air it out and try to get those 2 guys back in the game. In Heck and Ferguson. Right now, Start going to let them just dribble this thing out here. See if St. Francis can execute here as we're down to 12.
Nice feed into the post. I'm not sure if he dropped his hands a bit, but Horton is stripped coast to coast. Jefferson at the other end doesn't get the roll, but he does draw the foul.
Yeah, tremendous take that time after the turnover by Josiah Jefferson. Boy, this has been a shot in the arm here. As Start now can, for the first time tonight, they can get points from the defense after that St. Francis turnover at the other end.
Pollock picks up his second. Jefferson looking for his first points of any kind, and that one is well short.
Well, it's hard to believe Jefferson came in tonight averaging 18 points per contest.
Still scoreless right now. Second is on the way. Well short again. 3 seconds. Long outlet to Brown. He'll take it hard, and it would have been good if it had gone. It does not. And the third quarter has come to an end. St. Francis getting a push, but still on top as we head into the fourth and final quarter. Knights 23, Spartans 17. We'll take a First Insurance Group timeout. Back with the fourth and final quarter right after this on DCTV Sports. Fourth quarter action at the Dog Pound as we welcome you back. Opening game of the second annual Grube Classic. St. Francis of Toledo leading Start of the Toledo Public League, 23-17. We did not see a foul called to end the third quarter, but apparently the trail official must have called one. Brown went to the charity stripe with nobody else around and missed both. So, in effect, it's like it never happened, right? If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
You're right. And we saw the contact. There was contact, but it looked like there was not a call, but it must have been the trail official. But
well, the foul was charged to Stallworth, so it'll be his first. Let's give you a quick Mark Moats Ford stat summary to wrap up the third quarter. It was an 11-7 St. Francis advantage in that third quarter. But big three-pointers from both Eric Pierce and Joseph Stallworth off the bench as Start back into this one. How'd both teams take care of the ball in that third quarter?
St. Francis 3 turnovers, but Start was not able to score off of any of those 3. Meanwhile, Start with 2 turnovers, and St. Francis was unable to connect off the turnovers. So for the game, St. Francis 9 turnovers, Start just 7.
There we go. Almost a turnover there, but Start will maintain possession as Jefferson will inbound. Jefferson came into tonight averaging 18 points per ball game. He has been held scoreless so far this evening. 23-17 Start. Michael getting rid of the basketball. Ball just seems to be sticking right now, especially in the second half. Scoop, the couple of good three-pointers that they got, the ball moved much quicker. Inside, outside, around the perimeter. And right now, Start just looks a little sluggish, and Coach Warren wants a timeout. We'll break with them. The First Insurance Group timeout. We're back with more of the Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Not quite a minute into the fourth and final quarter. Tareem Warren, interim head coach for Start, wanted a timeout. He did not like how his team was facing the latest St. Francis defense. The Knights lead the Spartans 23-17. Winner advances to tomorrow night's championship game. They'll take on the winner of the second game tonight, the host Defiance Bulldogs, welcoming the Anthony Wayne Generals. Brent Balbinot, Scoop Miller saying thank you for joining us tonight. We'll have that second half of tonight's Twin Bill about 15 minutes after the conclusion of this one. Out of the timeout, we'll see what Coach Warren wants to set up. Spartans definitely in danger of dropping their first game of the season. Far corner, long three, just a very flat short. Horton with the board and an ill-advised outlet. That'll be a turnover.
Well, that time a tough 3 ball from the corner against a very aggressive 2-3 St. Francis defense.
Boy, a long 3. That was almost an inside-outside looking shot from Brown. Offensive board goes up top.
And all 5 Start players beyond the arc right now. No chance for a rebound here either.
One and done as Horton cleans up, and this time he'll hand the ball off to Soroka. Again, 3 fouls for point guard Jamison Heck. He's back in the ball game. Power forward Vince Ferguson for the Knights, also with 3 fouls. He remains on the bench. Brown sizing up. Brown. He'll lob it down low. Can the big man gather himself? And he does with the left hand. Pretty shot. His second basket of the evening.
Yeah, great job that time by Alan Horton to take his time. Once he got inside there, he had the mismatch, but a great entry pass by the Knights. And now they enjoy an 8-point margin here under the 6 to play.
What did I tell you at half? First one to 30? Still kind of feel that, don't you?
I hate it when you're right all the time.
One and done by Jefferson. He's got to be the most frustrated player on the court tonight. 18 points per ball game, scoreless tonight. As a quick 3 at the other end, and Brown with a Premier Bank 3 now has 7 on the evening.
Boy, that's big. You know, the first time all night we really got some serious separation on that nice Three from the corner.
Look at the defense here, out in a 2-3 zone. And start having trouble attacking it. Jalen Brown goes up high, and whoa! Brown at 5'8", going up against Grayson Pollock at about 6'1". Both bodies hitting the deck hard. Everybody appears to be okay.
Yeah, nice to see everybody get back up. That was a big collision, but I don't mind that foul at all there by Jay and Brown. The fact that they're trying to create some offense by going to the glass, something they've had no success with tonight as far as second chance points. But that time whistled for the foul, just the first of the quarter by either team.
They're going to mop this up. A little perspiration underneath the cylinder.
I like what I'm seeing from start here. I think they really have to extend their defense to try to create some offense from their defense. It looks like they're going to extend some pressure full court.
Let's give credit to Defiance trainer, really the event trainer, Jacob Hindle, for taking out the towel and helping out the officials there. Jacob, a proud University of Toledo grad, was a trainer for the football team during his time there. You name the sport, and he is on it here at Defiance.
Yeah, those are the guys that they love to have boring nights here. You don't want to see anybody get injured,
no.
But it's so great to have those guys here. I mean, they're top notch. And
all right, I'm not sure what's happening here, but Brown is now sitting, and Pierce is back on the floor for start. I'm not sure if we had a substitution and he had to come in. I'm not quite sure. And I don't think Coach Warren was either. But Start's going to come out in a 2-2-1 press here. So trying to lay on a little bit of pressure and get back into this one as they trail by 11. And they cannot do so as they give up the easy basket to Horton.
What an entry pass from Jamison Hack. That time, just a quick pass off the dribble from half court, threads the needle. Largest lead of the night at 13 points.
Stallworth on the drive. Check that, that's Pierce. He hits the deck. Horton over to try and help him up.
Well, right now, start trying to force the envelope a little bit, which I don't mind. You're down double digits. You're at 4.5 to go, and that was just the first St. Francis foul here, the fourth quarter. So you have to find a way to extend this game, lengthen it out. Best way to do that is to get to the charity stripe and score points with the clock stopped.
Pollock has picked up his third foul. Ferguson will check in for him, although you trade 3 fouls for 3 fouls there. Another substitution, Logan Horton, the 6'11 center, checking in for the 6'8 Alan Horton, his younger brother. Well, how would you like to see 6'11 facing you down, face guarding you at the top of the key if you are, what, 6 foot Preston Edwards? Loose ball, Johnny on the spot, and that's just good hustle by Josiah Jefferson. His first points of this ball game come at the 4:20 mark in the fourth quarter.
And you're right, what a hustle play. And you saw the athleticism there by Jefferson. And boy, that's the first time I can remember tonight an easy putback off an offensive rebound for Start here this evening.
He caught 2 blue jerseys kind of napping. They didn't really box out there, and he split right between them. As at the top of the key, Soroka will pull the the trigger. Ferguson pulls down the board, and it looks like St. Francis will slow things down. Nice move by Ferguson. Boy, that was just a top, strong move, and Vince Ferguson with his first basket of the second half. Lead is 13. On the drive, cutting a double team, but running right into the 6'11 Horton. Back out up top. Jefferson in between the legs, getting a little too fancy. It's stolen away. It's 3-on-1. The ball isn't exactly centered, and it doesn't matter as Soroka goes up and lays it up and in.
Oh, pretty move.
And a charge going to be called at the other end.
And great transition defense that time by the Knights after they got a run out to get the lead to 15. Another hustle play by the Knights. And right now, just 3 minutes and 6 seconds away from closing this out, advancing to their second consecutive championship spot.
Defiance won it last year. Although, granted, a completely different-looking team a season later. But we'll see if they can defend their title here. As Start coming out in some token pressure, but at the 3-minute mark, 34-19, it's going to take a minor miracle for the Spartans to avoid their first loss of the season. Well, there's a turnover. You can't score it all at once. Good 2-on-1, and finishing with the right hand at the other end. Pierce now with 5 on the evening. They're coming out in full court pressure, trying to go over the top of it, and Horton throws it away. Now a scrum for it, and look at this, and what did we have, a timeout or did we have a travel? A timeout was called by Coach Kaczmarek, and look, you couldn't anticipate what was going to happen there, but that was going to be an easy breakaway transition layup if play had continued.
Yeah, that's a timeout he really didn't want to take, but did not want to risk giving up a couple more points off a turnover at the other end, so understand why he did it.
We will keep it here. It's a 30-second version at the 2:35 mark. As Anthony Wayne and Defiance getting set to tip things off here for the second half of tonight's Twin Bill in about 25 minutes. Bryn Lehman. The name Lehman is like royalty in Defiance. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at former Coach Kirk Lehman just sitting off to our right here. Class act. He came over and had some kind words for me when I did my first broadcast from this gymnasium this season. Of course, he was a standout point guard at Ohio. He had another sibling, I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head, who also had some pretty good success at the University of Toledo. So, Brother Jay, Father Kirk, watching Bryn continue the family legacy.
Yeah, I remember Kirk coached Defiance team to the state championship back in 2015. And what a team that was. Katwan Singleton, Cameron Singleton, Shea Smitty. In fact, Shea Smitty ended up pitching Defiance to the state baseball championship that spring. Got the complete game win in the semis and came in, got the final 2 outs in that state title. The second of 3 in 4 years for Coach Tom Held's Bulldogs.
Ferguson, middle of the paint, down low to Horton, who flushes it home. Well, that was just great passing, big man to big man.
Tremendous ball boom at that time to break down that start defense, something they really haven't done a lot of, but they're starting to find it here. Offense has come to life here in the second half.
And another turnover. Ferguson strips the ball and the quick outlet, and they're going to foul Brown to prevent the breakaway layup. Well, we're going to have to really put pen to paper here and think about who did the intangibles in this first game, Scoop, for the Stikeman Automotive Group player of the game. Because if you're looking for that 15 to 20-point scorer tonight, it's not there.
No, it's probably going to go to the defense. In all honesty, the fact that that was really what dictated this game. That's what really kept St. Francis in it when the shots weren't dropping in.
Jamison Heck, despite having 3 fouls, is St. Francis's leading scorer with 9. Alan Horton has had an exceptional fourth quarter. He's got 6 points and I believe 2 blocks. 36-21, a minute 40 left to go in this one. And Start is not fouling. St. Francis is content to just keep the ball and the floor spread and run the clock down. Nice crossover, Ferguson. Now normally I think that's a shot that Soroka takes, but not in this situation. And now Start is forced to foul.
Yeah, I totally agree. This situation, you've got the points you need. You just want to shorten this game down, so try to eat up some more time. Start, that was the 4th foul, so that was the last foul to give. Here on out, it'll be 2 shots, but we're down to the last 79 seconds. Well, things looking really good for Coach Kaczmarek and company.
15-point lead, and Scoop, prior to tonight, the lowest offensive output for Start was 43 points twice. One in a win at Rogers, one in a win at Northview. They're not even going to get halfway there. It doesn't look like.
They're averaging 49.5 points per contest. But again, I think you have to really credit St. Francis. They've got a couple lockdown defenders that really make it tough to get open looks and to get confidence.
Deflected pass, and right there, just a heads-up move by Heck, the point guard, to keep it out around the perimeter. Brown finally will, go in for the shot, and he is fouled hard. Now, a good show of sportsmanship there by Pierce to come over and help him up.
Yeah, that time Brown looked like he was going to try to put one down for the highlight reel.
Yep.
But start like they've done all night. They're going to contest everything, but I think they're going to call this a flagrant foul, so it'll be 2 in the ball here for St. Francis.
Well, the charity stripe has been anything but charitable for Raheem Brown tonight. He drained his first 2 all the way back in the first quarter. Since then, he's 0 for 4. And they are calling this one a flagrant against Pierce. That's his 4th. Brown will be a lonely man at the charity stripe.
Yeah, I don't think that was really a foul intended to hurt anybody. They were just really challenging that shot. We're not going to get posterized, so to speak, on that dunk attempt. Nice to see everybody all right.
So a substitution. Josiah Jefferson. No, actually, he's just over at the scorer's table getting instruction from Coach Warren. Now we're going to have a substitution as Caden Mikolajczyk will check in. Quick 3 is airmailed by Pierre McDonald as Coach Martin is emptying out his bench. Checking to see if there's any substitutions. We do have one. Austin Urban checking in, number 11 for St. Francis. And unless there is a start foul, I don't believe we're going to have any more scoring in this ball game. St. Francis, I don't believe will release the basketball here. Although they're feeding their big man down low, Horton's going to go up strong, and there's the foul. So we will have free throws. Logan Horton, 2 for 2 tonight. Well, at 6'8" and 6'11", there's no question that the Horton brothers bring some length and certainly some shot blocking, some shot altering capability. As the first one is up and short, but a little more time in the weight room, a little more physical, aggressive. I don't know what adjective that you would put in there. I know Coach Kaczmarek said sometimes a kid can just be too nice on the court. And he goes, those 2 brothers are the nicest kids he's ever coached, but he'd like him to have a little bit more of a mean streak when that whistle sounds.
Yeah, you saw the potential of both these young men. They've got such a high upside. Combined, those 2 are averaging over 14 rebounds per contest. That's really half of the rebounding for St. Francis on the season.
I'm not sure what the issue is here. 2 officials talk to each other, and we had a player foul out. So Eric Pierce is now leaving the ball game. And now we'll wait for Horton to take his next free throw. And off the mark.
Yeah, but you can see both these Horton boys, they're going to get some looks from some colleges, no question about it.
Second one off the mark. It's long. Nice job by Jermaine Polk to pull down the board. And with 18 ticks, Horton's going to post up again. And whoa, he lost that ball on the way up. It kind of rattled but went down. That's a half dunk, half layup. One and done, and now St. Francis will dribble out the clock as Urban crosses the timeline. Buzzer sounds. Final score, St. Francis 39, Start 21. Knights up their record to 5-1 overall. Spartans suffer their first loss of the season as they fall to 5-1, as St. Francis will get the winner of tonight's second game We'll have that tip off in about 15 minutes as the host Bulldogs welcome the Anthony Wayne Generals. We're going to take a quick First Insurance Group timeout. We'll have the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center post-game show right after this. You're watching DCTV Sports. Number one is in the books of the second annual Grube Classic. The St. Francis Knights, for the second straight year, will be playing in tomorrow night's championship game. The question is, who will be the opponent? We'll find out in about 14 minutes here as Defiance and Anthony Wayne will take the court. Before we get to that pregame, we've got the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center postgame show to wrap up. Time now for your Mark Motes Ford stat summary. Let's go ahead and run down the scoring totals first for you. Leading all scorers tonight, Raheem Brown did get into double figures despite being just 3 of 8 from the charity stripe, but he finishes with 10. On his heels, Jamison Heck, point guard, with 9, 8 points for Alan Horton. Vince Ferguson played the second half pretty much in foul trouble. He's got 4 points apiece off the bench for Grayson Pollock and Logan Horton. On the flip side for the Spartans, a couple of players with a handful of points. Eric Pierce had 5 in the second half. Preston Edwards had 5 at the half. He was held scoreless over quarters 3 and 4. 3 points apiece for Connor Michael, Ja'Kai Jefferson, and 3 points off the bench for Joseph Stallworth. But the key tonight, Josiah Jefferson averages 18 points per ball game. Scoop tonight, he was held to just 2.
Yeah, and credit to that defense from St. Francis for that. You know, we talked to Coach Kashmerick for the game. He thought that was going to be a key, but he also thought they had the personnel to maybe put the clamps in some of those heavy hitters. And wow, but nobody saw that coming. They just did a tremendous job of not only keeping them away from the paint, but keeping them off the boards. Just a stellar defensive performance here tonight by the Knights.
We've got to take our Steichman Automotive Group player of the game, and on a night where defense ruled supreme, I'll leave this one up to you. Normally we discuss this, ladies and gentlemen. We bounce it off each other in commercial. I'm going to leave this one completely up to you.
Well, there's 3 or 4 guys that I really thought did a tremendous job for St. Francis. I mean, one of them was Vince Ferguson, his lockdown defense on Jefferson, but I thought Brown was awfully good as well, Jamison Heck. But I think I'm going to go with Alan Horton because not only is he a guy that's going to get you 10 rebounds a game, but he did a great job of changing a lot of shots early. He had a couple rejections, and again, he did not allow those second chance points to accumulate for Start. And Start's going to need that because we saw that they have a few holes shooting the basketball, but they do have the ability with their speed and quickness to get to the rack. So I really like the performance of the sophomore Alan Horton tonight, who really did it in all phases, the offensive end, defensive end, and with his rebounding.
So congratulations going out to Alan Horton, our Steichman Automotive player of the game. We're going to put a wrap on the Midwest Community the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center post-game show. We're going to re-rack We'll have a brand spanking new Estel Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show, and we're going to be joined by Rick Small, the Director of Marketing from Grube Incorporated, on the other end of this. Don't you go anywhere. Game number 2, night number 1 of the second annual Grube Classic. You're watching it on DCTV Sports. Back at the Dog Pound, it is the second annual Grube Classic. We can say second annual because the first one's the inaugural. And I'm thinking here in about another 10 or 15 years, people are going to be saying, remember when this thing got off the ground. But this has been a fantastic tournament. Talking with all the coaches that have been taking part in this, they love this. It's got kind of a postseason feel before Christmas, before the conference schedules for these teams really get kicked in. Brent Balbinot alongside, I was going to say, normally we have dignitaries on the right, luminaries on the left, but I think you fill both categories. Rick Small, the Director of Marketing for Grube, pleased to join us. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure, and I think you said it well, because this is what it's all about. Steve Grube, our owner and president CEO, actually played high school basketball for Defiance High School, and he's near and dear to loving, obviously, high school sports. And we try to endear ourselves. You know, Grube Inc. is so big. We're coast to coast now, from Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way to San Bernardino, California. And yet every town that we're in, we try to endear ourselves to the communities we're in. And no different with Defiance, and now it's more than Buffalo Wild Wings. This is Marco's Pizza. They hired me for wings. Now I got to, sort of stretch out into pizza and all that. But we are just thrilled to sponsor this, and it's high school basketball at its best.
Basically, if you want a meal, this is the man to hang on his hip. Right. But in all honesty, I know national reach, national exposure for Grube, but local involvement. I know you were telling me before we hit the air, that's very important to you.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, a lot of people get freaked out by a national brand saying, well, they're national, they're not very involved. I challenge each and every one of our stores all the time to be a real leader in their community, and we do that. We lift up, especially the youth, and we go out for from sports to anything that's lifting up young people, from academics to athletics, and that's what really, in my interview 7 years ago, I said that was near and dear to me in my radio days, and Steve agreed, and that's what really got me involved in the entire process.
So how did this come about? Did Coach Beauty, did the school contact you? Did you sit over a drink at Buffalo Wild Wings or Marco's somewhere one night and come up with this? What was the birth of this event?
Well, I think Bryn Lehman knew Steve's past with Defiance High School, knew that Steve was a supporter of athletics not only in Defiance but all around the region and wherever we're represented with our restaurants. He reached out, we had a meeting, and Steve loved the idea, and last year was a Grube Family Classic that we did with our Rusty Taco in Maumee. But since then, we've taken on 9 Marco's Pizza, including here in Defiance, so we thought that was a natural fit with it. So Bryn made the invite, we loved, and we reciprocated.
Sometimes all you have to do is ask,
That's
folks.
Right.
Speaking of Rusty Taco, I know there's one in Maumee. I have been a regular. The number 9, I think it is. It's called the Rusty, or the Rusty's Taco. It's kind of a play on Tacos Al Pastor. It's got that kind of chipotle sauce with the pork and the grilled pineapple. If you get a chance, folks, the Rusty Taco, try the Rusty. Which one's your favorite?
Well, wow. First off, you're hired, and you're gonna be. I'm gonna put you in sandwich sports to walk around Maumee and the surrounding area.
I'll work for food.
You know, I love them all. I like the breakfast chorizo one first and foremost, but again, the Rusty would be my choice because I love the pineapple with the chipotle and with the pork that's in there too. So, wow, good research on that.
Well, it comes from being hungry and liking the product. So you're looking for a pitch man. Let's talk afterwards.
That's right.
In all seriousness, though, as we kind of wrap this up and get ready for game number 2, Grube is everywhere, and you're always looking for good people. If somebody's interested in finding out more about you, how can they do so?
Well, you can go to the website, grubeinc.com, and we always are looking for more and more people. Again, I started 7 years ago with 22 restaurants. As of yesterday, we acquired 4 more Buffalo Wild Wings. We now have 61 locations in the Buffalo Wild Wings world, 9 Marco's Pizza, and 1 Rusty Taco. And we also bought a golf shop, believe it or not. You talk about diversification, and I love that. I'm hoping for discounts on equipment.
I got nothing. This man needs his own show.
Yeah, that's
We got to get an underwriter, and we'll just give you an hour for how's that each week. Sound good?
Someday. And first off, I want to thank you guys for what you do, for bringing high school sports to everybody's living room. It's great to watch, a lot of fun too, and I wish all of you a Merry Christmas.
Rick, thank you so much, and a Merry Christmas to everybody else. We got another game. Don't go anywhere. We're back with game number 2 right after this on DCTV. We have hit the reset button. We've got just under 2 minutes. A new economy-sized version of the Estel Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. Brent Balmanot alongside Scoop Miller. Day number 1, game number 2 of the second inaugural Grube Classic. We already know who will be playing in the championship game tomorrow night as the St. Francis Knights, for the second straight year, won the opener 39-21 this time around against Start. Who will be waiting for them on the other side of the bracket? The host Bulldogs at 3-3. The Anthony Wayne Generals at 1-4. We're going to break it down with the starting lineups brought to you by Baker Schindler Company. Size, thickness, and I'm just going to say physicality, I think, is going to mark this game tonight, Scoop. Do you agree or disagree?
I totally agree. You know, both these teams are a lot different than they were a year ago. But Defiance trying to make it 2 consecutive years to that championship game to take on St. Francis. But their other work cut out. This is an Anthony Wayne team that has been on top of the NLL year in, year out. This is the team that expects to win game in, game out. They've been off to a slow start this season, but they know they can right the ship with a good, impressive performance here in this tournament.
There you take a look at the starters first for the Anthony Wayne Generals. And again, Blake Robeson. He's a junior, but a little inexperienced. This is his first real time with the varsity. But Robeson is a driver, he is a creator, and they are going to try to really lock him down. On the other side, it's going to be Hayden Bender, a 6'1 junior. You see Grant Kinney. Kinney is averaging, let's see, 7 points, 4 boards per contest. And then Griffin Pike. Pike is just a great all-around athlete, 6'5", and a senior, averaging 16.5 points, nearly 6 boards and 2 assists per ball game. And Scoop, how about this? In the stats that Coach Arthur sent me, 30 minutes per game. He has yet to come out of any of their first 5 ball games so far this season.
Yeah, there's a reason they want him on the floor. He's that catalyst, great rebounder, great scorer. Also can shoot it from deep. He's also a very good defender as he leads the teams in steals as well.
Jackson Urinovich rounds out the starting 5, young sophomore, but averaging 8 and 5 per ball game. On the flip side for the Defiance Bulldogs, led by head coach Bryn Lehman in his first season at the helm here at the Dog Pound, the following 5 will take the court. It will be Antonio Lopez. Lopez, again, kind of the straw that stirs the drink, the 5'10 senior. He basically decides when they're going to run and when they're going to slow it down. Jordan Wright will be the other backcourt member for him. Brez Ziffel, starting quarterback for the football team, didn't go out last year, hated watching from the stands, so said, I might as well stay in shape. He is just one of those calming presences on the court. Brogan Castillo is physical, ladies and gentlemen. Castillo on the season shooting 50% from the floor. He is averaging 12 points and 6 rebounds per game. And then they've got another sizable center in Khalil Ligon. Ligon, again, standing in at 6'3", the junior. He is shooting 48% from the floor. He's averaging 10 points and nearly 5 rebounds per contest. So the bigs are pretty much where the offense comes from, but they're going to have their hands full tonight as they rotate on Pike.
Yeah, that's going to be really the telltale, I think, for the Bulldogs tonight. They're going to have to really make Griffin Pike work for everything. We've already talked about the athleticism that Pike brings to the floor, but he's a tough guard with his size, his ability to shoot from deep, his ability to take it to the rack.
Those are your starting lineups brought to you by Baker Schindler Company. Earlier we saw the officiating crew. They are lined up at the scorer's table. We've got a new 3. It will be Doug Etzler, Paul Stoll, and Jeremy, I believe, is that TG? TG. I was close. And none of those guys, I understand, have run you during your coaching career. Is that correct? So you're safe.
That's correct. I've actually had all 3 of those guys in different broadcasts this week. So I can't say that very often, so I do want to recognize the fact that none of those guys have ever teed me up.
Oh, goodness. How good was it to have Rick Small on, though, in between games there? Talk about just community-oriented. And for a company that's national, the size of Grube, to maintain their roots here in a community of, what, around 20,000, that's really, really impressive.
Yeah, and Rick Small, I knew him as an umpire from my early days in coaching. I always thought he was a great umpire, but he's an even better person, and just glad that those guys have been so instrumental in making this tournament happen. So our hats out to all those guys at Grube Incorporated.
We are getting set for the tip-off, brought to you by F&M Bank. In the center circle, Ziffel for the Bulldogs. And Knie for Anthony Wayne. Generals win it. Decked out in all blue. The host Bulldogs in their all-white jerseys. A lot of sets for Anthony Wayne. They've got great athletes, a lot of football players that are trying to stay active in the offseason. Speaking of active, that's just a great job by Hayden Bender to crash the glass on the weak side, and that's a garbage putback to open up the score.
Just a heads-up play by Bender. He had no business coming up with that rebound, but just was able to beat his defender on the checkout, anticipated that rebound really well.
Lopez beyond the arc, kind of a jump pass. Castillo pops out. He'll drive. Feathery touch, and he elevates over Hayden Bender, and we're tied at 2.
Great job there to get that quick answer. I like how both teams trying to get everyone involved early here, trying to get plenty of touches.
Going for the steal. Robeson surrenders it to the near corner. Bender on the drive. That's great defense by Lopez, and are they going to call him for hand checking? Maybe a little too physical.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you just have to sort of test out the officials, see how much they're going to let you go with. You need to be physical on those perimeter battles one-on-one, trying to reroute guys away from the lane. That time he gets called for the hand check.
So we'll play on here with the early foul going against the Defiance point guard. Man-to-man defense. Try and get it down low to Pike, and that ball was partially blocked by Zippel. That's a late call. Did that come from the official up top? Because Coach Lehman does not look happy. Well, my goodness.
Credit Grant Kinney that time with a tremendous entry pass. That time Griffin Pike was isolated down low. Did a great job pinning his man. And he'll head to the charity stripe. And he connects on the first of 2. Just a 59% free throw shooter on the season. That's an area you know it's going to go up in. He's played in a lot of big games for the Generals over his career. That one's going to kink out.
Wow, Zippel had it. It's ripped away by Kinney. And they'll play on. Top of the key, long 3, and Pike drains it, an F&M bank 3. And just like that, it's a 6-2 lead.
Boy, you just don't want to see him get untracked that early if you're Defiance.
Castillo, quick 15-footer. I thought he had a lane to drive. It's airmailed. And here comes Anthony Wayne on the drive. Fast break cut off, back out up top. This one scoots around and ripped down by Wright. He wants to run. This is a rarity, folks, as Defiance usually likes a half-court game. He got in trouble off the deflection. Lopez stops and calms things down. And just as I say that, Wright launches up a quick 3. They've taken maybe a couple of quick shots their last 2 trips down the court.
Yeah, I think that's going to favor Anthony Wayne. I think they would much rather get up and down a little bit and transition.
Pike beyond the arc, Castillo on him. This is athlete on athlete. Pike drives in, it's stripped. Loose ball. Ligon was, I'm not sure if he was just kind of deciding, do I go after this or do I let it go out of bounds? But you can secure it, usually better to do so. Fortunately for Defiance, that ball went out of bounds. But here comes the press, the 1-2-2. Coach Lehman in his practice on Tuesday told me they expect to see a ton of this. And they break it. Nice job by Castillo. Big man to big man. Nice pass from Zippel.
Yeah, great pass from Zippel, and just a textbook press offense that time by Defiance. Able to beat that General defense with an easy deuce.
Fade away by Pike. Halfway down, it kicks out. Crashing the glass, though, Kinney. And he loses it, or was he stripped?
He was stripped by Castillo. Castillo so physical out there, and again, he makes his presence felt not just with his defense, but also his rebounding.
Stop and pop. Wright has this one go in and out. Picked up by Pike. It's 1-on-3. He doesn't care. Crosses over, and a late whistle, but Ligon is going to be guilty of the foul.
And that's Griffin Pike's game right there. When he gets the ball in the open court, he's going to the rack. You know, there's really no doubt about it. In that time, even though Defiance looked like they did a pretty good job in transition defense, Pike just kind of forced the issue, forced the official to make the call as he initiated a lot of that contact. And he comes up empty on the first of 2.
Again, a 58.5% free throw shooter through the early part of the season, but he's only 1 of 3 so far tonight.
Well, his brother, great baseball player at the University of Toledo, a 2-time All-MAC performer. Going to be a junior this year for Coach Rob Reinstedel and the Rockets.
7-4 on 1 of 2. You can see Wright slowing it down, waiting to pick up Robeson at half court. Lopez, foot on the line. Was that ball partially blocked?
That was partially blocked by Jordan Wright.
It was short. And Defiance hustles back to play defense. Bryn Lehman said defensive transition and rebounding going to be crucial tonight. They worked 6-on-5 on Tuesday night in a press break against the JV as Pike airmails this one. It's out of bounds. The cry, the plea, if you will, by the coaching staff to Lopez, Wright, Kellemeyer is when you face a press, especially one as aggressive as Anthony Wayne's, is you can't dribble backwards or go east-west. You've got to attack.
Yeah, if you don't attack that press, it's just going to get a little bit more intense. It's going to come at you even more. And so the best way to beat that pressure is going right at the heart and soul of it. You have to attack aggression with aggression.
Look at this. Ligon, the big man, with the three. Castillo couldn't get the point blanker to fall. Garrett Rodenberger, all 6'3", 215 pounds, has checked into the ball game. So Defiance going about as big as they can go right now and still give up the offensive board. Ligon finally secures it, and he is fouled. Charge this one to Jurinovic.
Great job being strong with the basketball by the 6'3" junior Ligon. And that time, that strength forces the foul on Anthony Wayne. So great job there with the defense, now the offense. Trying to get some good looks like they've had. They just have to finish around the rim.
7-4. We played a little over halfway through the first quarter. Rodenberger picks up his dribble, also checking in for Defiance, Logan Hutchison. Rodenberger with the pump fake. That would have been a long three. Wright can get a better shot than that. Ligon puts it on the floor. Spins just a bit short. And again, one and done.
A great rebound by Grant Kinney that time to keep him to just that one shot. That's going to be awfully important here tonight.
Pike stutter steps. Cut off at the free throw line. Long three from the right wing. Jurinovic drains it, an F&M bank three. And it's up to a 6-point lead.
Good looking shot by Jurinovic, who's able to catch and shoot in rhythm after the nice move and pass by Pike.
Castillo cut off baseline. Ligon on the drive. Nice dish. Good ball movement. But even better recovery by Anthony Wayne. Wow. Tremendous job by Bender to get out. And that's a long three. Dagger tapped out. And who was this last touch by? Looks like Defiance.
Well, that's a great defensive possession that time by Anthony Wayne. Defiance really never got close to getting a touch in the paint. And then they had to shoot a long three over a great closeout with high hands. The result, Anthony Wayne basketball here, trying to get some separation early here as we approach the 2-minute mark of the opening quarter.
Robeson stop and go and finishes with the right hand. That was a pretty move.
Great job by the junior Robeson that time. A little hesitation, stutter step there, lured Defiance to sleep, and then he put the Jets on. Got an easy layup.
Ziffel going to be called for a travel. He thought he had a little help, and he can't believe it. As what was a tight game early has turned into an 8-point advantage for the Generals. And that will be another turnover by the Bulldogs. And Coach Lehman is pleading his case with one of the officials, saying he has to have room to come down. Some token pressure right now by the Bulldogs. Robeson working against Hutchison. Boy, stops and pops just a bit short. And Defiance figuring out you got to be about a step quicker than you're used to against this Anthony Wayne team. Rodenberger on the floor, kicks it back out. He's not one that looks to score much. Under 90 seconds left to go in the quarter. Lopez on the drive, spins. Rodenberger had the baseline, didn't want it. Zippel for three, misses everything. Quick transition. Pike crosses over and throws it away.
No, great transition defense that time by the Bulldogs. You know, you mentioned it, Brent. That's something they really emphasized, worked on at practice this week. And that time you knew Pike was going to try to get to the rack. But again, great job winning that one-on-one perimeter battle. Pike went up in the air, really had nothing to do with it, tried to make a cross-court pass. It sails into the bleachers. Another turnover for Anthony Wayne.
Castillo back in, as is Wright. Lopez taking a little air out of the ball with under a minute left to go in the first quarter. Reversal. Zippel. Nice flash down low. Ligon with a short jumper. Castillo with the board. Is it going to go back up? He's leaning into his man. Instead, they'll run a bit more offense. Plenty of time with 30 seconds left. Castillo cut off. That's a dangerous pass to Lopez. And do we have a jump ball? Yes, we do. And the arrow stays with the Bulldogs.
Tremendous defense that time from Anthony Wayne. We saw Defiance pick up the dribble. They got locked in one-on-one. That kind of set up that backdoor cut, but great recognition, great help.
Lopez thought about a three. Ligon going to back his man down and draws the foul.
Oh, I like that possession. So much better for the Bulldogs. Yes. That time they were able to get a nice isolation down there in the low post. Nice entry pass, very safe pass. And then good footwork and good movement that time by Ligon. Now Hood to the stripe here to shoot a pair. The first one off the back of the iron.
Ligon, just a 36% free throw shooter on the young season.
And Defiance just 56% as a team. So those are numbers that are going to have to really go up and climb if Defiance wants to get a taste of that success they've had the last several seasons.
12-5, under 20 seconds left to go in the quarter. Wright dogging Robinson. 8 seconds. Struggling to get some offense going. 3 seconds, 2. Robeson with a desperation step back three. Around the world, it kicks out. And we've come to the end of the first 8 minutes of play. After a slow start, Anthony Wayne starting to heat up offensively. They lead the host Bulldogs 12-5 at the second annual Grube Classic. We'll take a quick timeout. We're back with more on DCTV Sports. Buzzer sounds, second 8 minutes put up on the scoreboard clock. We welcome you back to the Dog Pound. There you get a look at some of the hardest working men in this entire gymnasium, and they do it for basically community service. You can't put on a game, much less a two-day tournament, without, everybody's going to think of the extras, you know, this coaching staff, the officials. Obviously, the janitors have to turn on the lights and open up the doors, but those people at the scoreboard are an integral part of how this thing works. Tip of the cap to them.
Yeah, they really deserve it. And it's been that way here at Defiance for so many years. So many people have been out there year in, year out. They have a lot of seasoned veterans down there in that table.
12-5. It was a tight game early. And then Anthony Wayne kind of caught fire. Wow, lots of contact. No call. They play on. Officials are letting them play this evening, Scoop.
Yeah, and both these teams, I think, will take advantage of that and try to be as physical as they can.
Ligon, again, looked like he rushed the shot a bit, but check that Zippel. Oh, nice up and under move, and he finishes with a left hand. Brez Zippel, pretty play.
Sweet play by the junior Zippel. That time didn't panic, made a nice up and under move. Great finish off the window. Much needed hoop here to start things out in quarter two for the Bulldogs.
Cuts the deficit to 5. Pike on Castillo. Physicality on physicality.
Well, I love that matchup you're talking about with Castillo and Pike. Neither one going to give the other an inch.
Nope. Robeson dishes off. Open 16-footer, nothing doing, and Ligon. I think Defiance got a little bit of talking to from Coach Bryn Lehman during that changeover between quarters. Defiance looks a little bit quicker, certainly more aggressive. Just like that, Ligon can't finish.
Yeah, I like that move there by Ligon. A very aggressive move, got a great look.
From his knees, what a job by Will Robinson to keep the dribble. Robeson left wing for three, airmails it and Zippel's there.
Defiance doing an excellent job here with the boxing out here in the second quarter. The result, they're starting to keep the Generals to just one shot and done defensively.
Ligon back out to Lopez. He doesn't look to score a lot. He can. He's got that kind of game. As he'll launch a three there and off the heel of the iron. Ligon taps it out. Lopez quick. Oh my goodness, I thought his knee was going to go out from underneath him. And Defiance, the bench can't believe there was no foul called there. It was dribbled out of bounds by Lopez.
A lot of contact, but as you already mentioned, Brent, they've really been very consistent letting that go. So you're seeing teams really get physical on those short rebounds, on the long rebounds, doesn't matter. That time, Anthony Wayne catches the break. They'll have a chance to extend their 5-point lead.
Kinney hands it off, splitting a double team, and we'll have a foul on the floor. Is this going to be Castillo? It is. Brogan's first.
Yeah, just the first foul of the quarter by either team. So neither team in foul trouble at this juncture.
Well, Castillo on Pike all night long. And with Pike out, Castillo looks like he's just going to kind of hang in the middle of the paint, and that's exactly why. There's a tremendous all-conference running back for the football team this year.
His physicality is going to equate a lot of good things on the hardwood here, as we're seeing already tonight.
He's got it in between the circles. On the drive, bullet pass. Boy, the rotation, the help defense by Anthony Wayne has been fantastic so far. Castillo forced into a tough fadeaway 12-footer. It's one and done.
Yeah, very impressed with the Generals defense. Not only they're in great position, they anticipate well. They do a great job with that help defense and rotation. Here, Josh Arthur is going to burn a timeout.
We'll take one with them. 5:15 left to go in the first half. Low-scoring affair, 12-7. Anthony Wayne over Defiance. You're watching the Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Buzzer sounds with 5:15 left to go in the first half. Night number one, game number two of the 2023 Grube Classic here at the Dog Pound in Defiance. We already know what one half of tomorrow night's championship bracket will be, as the St. Francis Knights knocked off the Start Spartans in game one, 39-21. Have a low-scoring game here. Pike, middle of the paint, muscles up against Rodenberger. Wow. That is arguably the tallest and thickest defender that Defiance could throw at him.
And credit Coach Arthur that time. That was a set play after the timeout to get Pike a touch. That's the first shot of this second quarter by Pike, who came out really on fire. I think he had 7 quick points the opening 3 minutes, but it's been stymied until that basket right there.
Castillo tried to save the ball off a rebound, but he stepped out of bounds, and Defiance again one and done. Scoop, we were talking about it during that timeout. Anthony Wayne defensively, and not just on ball, but their help, their rotation on the weak side has been incredibly quick, and Defiance right now still having problems with it because a shot against, 8 out of 10 other teams might be open with that extra pass, isn't there with Anthony Wayne. And another good drive by Urinovich. He's got 5 on the night.
Well, that's a very physical move there by Urinovich. But Brent, I think you hit the nail on the head. Not only are they rotating so well, but you combine that with their quickness, their positioning, and that's made it awfully tough. At that time, a good look is going to just rip rim out.
I believe the arrow points. Coach Lehman standing in front of the arrow. It actually is pointing to Defiance. Lopez turned to the bench and kind of threw his hands up. And if you're Coach Bryn Lehman, you tell him to do that and keep doing it. You have no problems with that shot selection, do you?
Well, no question about it. I think Defiance just needs to get more aggressive offensively, attacking the rim.
Boy, look at Ligon working hard underneath, and there's still a lid on the basket. Wow.
Well, they worked for that one, got a great look, but just did not have the shooter's touch on it. And boy, Defiance held to just 7 points in the opening 12 minutes here tonight.
Back defensively, Hutchison has checked into the game. He's given Wright a breather. Long three from the far corner, and Ligon pulls it down.
Great job by Ligon. Long shots mean long rebounds, so you have to have all 5 at the defensive glass.
Rodenberger back out to Zippel. Left to right, step in for 3. We got a whistle, and do we have a foul? 3-second call.
No, that's going to be a three shots here in the foul. That time the airborne shooter was Zippel.
Wow. Boy, from our angle, if we had replay, I'd love to see that.
It's a point of emphasis. If you touch the elbow, that's going to be an easy call, especially out there in the perimeter. And that time, even though there wasn't a lot of contact, the fact that that's been a point of emphasis, it'll give Zippel a chance to shoot 3. And this is just what the doctor ordered for Coach Bryn Lehman's squad. The fact that there's been a lid on it, the offense has had their struggles, but now you get a chance to maybe get a little confidence here at the stripe.
Second rattles in and out. Now there should be a third here, correct? Everybody acting like this should be a transition opportunity for A. Wayne, but Brez Zippel gets one more.
Yeah, and Zippel, that was his first miss from the free throw line on the season. He's now 7 for 8. If he connect on this one, you might as well call it meatloaf, because 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. Tell me that you just thought of that and you didn't have that one in your holster all week long. 16-9. Does pull Defiance back to within 7. 3:20 left to go in the first half. Defiance bringing the top half of this 2-3 zone out. Trying to stick a little bit more on the ball. Again, Lopez, starting point guard, catching a breather on the bench for the Bulldogs. And the Generals in no rush. As a matter of fact, they're not running anybody in the paint or even inside the arc right now. They are a true 5-out.
Yeah, Defiance content staying in this 2-3 defense.
Ball reversal. They get the look they want. Off the mark. Jurinovic follows. That ball's partially blocked. Look at Ligon, and we have a jump ball. The arrow stays with Anthony Wayne, and I'm waiting for Coach Lehman to go ahead and blow his stack. He's out on the court right now, and I guarantee you he's thinking, how about that call at the other end?
Yeah, he thought that time it should have been a foul there on the defensive rebound. Instead, they're going to call the jump ball. But again, they've been very consistent letting these guys go at each other.
And they are.
Boy, they're going to feel it tomorrow morning, if not sooner.
This is a physical ball game. A 3 at the other end. One and done. And Rodenberger, who's going to get more than spot minutes tonight with a strong two-handed board. Lopez back in the game. Zippel on the drive into the paint. I thought he might rip through, but instead releases. Lopez, and you can't help but call a foul 28 feet out from the basket. Robeson, I think he got cross-footed.
But I like that possession by Defiance. You know, consecutive times there, they tried to attack the lane off of that dribble penetration. Second time, they really forced the official to call the foul there. But again, neither team really in foul trouble. Just the second foul by the Generals here in the second quarter.
Hutchison. Good ball reversal, far corner. They're right on him. Zippel, run and gun, and whoa! Feathery touch. My goodness. Coach, he's got to walk this one off. He's got a lot of energy. Kirk Lehman walking up on the box here. We'll take a quick timeout with 2:10 left to go in the half. Defiance hanging within arm's reach, down by 5. You're watching DCTV Sports. 2:10 left to go in the first half. Brez Zippel having himself a first half, in specific, a second quarter. All 6 of his points coming so far in the first 5 minutes and 50 seconds.
Boy, those last 2 were pretty. You talk about a floater there off the drive. That came down true and through, string music.
This is a kid that only averages 4 a game. He's already over his average, and Anthony Wayne finally counters at the other end with a corner 3 off the fingertips of Nate Peterman.
And Peterman hitting just 20% beyond the arc until that 3 right there. But again, a great response out of the timeout by the Generals to get the lead back to 8.
We saw the legendary former Defiance coach and Ohio Bobcat Kirk Lehman walk by us. He is still got the energy as a loose pass. This is going to be a breakaway layup for Robeson.
Yeah, you always love to get points for your defense, and credit Blake Robeson. He made that play all by himself there, was able to get the steal and the run out. Tremendous finish. And wow, a 10-point advantage here for Anthony Wayne. This quickness of Anthony Wayne really giving Defiance some fits here in this opening half.
I think you're going to have to ride your 2 starting guards and Lopez and Wright maybe a little bit longer than you normally would if you're Coach Bryn Lehman. And again, you can't make lazy passes. That was nonchalant and almost stolen, and another breakaway layup for Robeson.
Yeah, that could have easily been a no call here tonight, and 2 more points from the defense by Robeson, but Defiance catches the break, and that's why it's going to be awfully important. You have to meet passes against this Anthony Wayne team. If you don't, you're going to be in trouble, and Anthony Wayne is going to be off to the races with that quickness and the way they anticipate and rotate so well defensively.
Right. Lopez playing a little catch in between the circles. They flash Castillo into the high blocks. Fades away. Is that going to fall? It does not, but he's going to the charity stripe.
Beautiful move that time by Brogan Castillo. That time he just kind of darted in the middle, demanded the basketball, did a great job sealing his man behind him. Then he made a nice move, a lot of contact on that, almost got it to go. Have to settle for 2 freebies, the first one up and in. And Castillo, a 50% free throw shooter on the season coming in. And boy, they're going to need to take advantage of this free throw. They just cannot leave any more points on the table.
Second rattles home, cuts the deficit to 8, and it allows Defiance to come out in some full court pressure. 21-13, just over a minute left to go in the half. Wright really dogging Robeson. Boy, Anthony Wayne has looked sharp here after the first couple minutes were maybe a little sluggish. They're firing on all cylinders. Pike. Kinney. And are they going to take a little air out of the ball now? Are they just trying to lull him to sleep? He's going to take Ligon down the left side of the lane. It's a little hard off the square, and Zippel with a great box out. Anthony Wayne with a chance to go on a 4-0 run here, heading into the half. Ligon on the drive, spin move, goes up strong, lots of contact. They will call the foul.
And that's going to go on Griffin Pike. And again, another strong move by Khalil Ligon that time. I like how he really just he initiated all that stuff. That time, great penetration, a nice spin move, and a lot of contact. Now he'll head back to the stripe to shoot a pair.
Ligon, you could tell the minute it left his fingertips that was going to be long. It was a little flat, a little hard.
Though we've already mentioned he's really had his struggles at the line. So, but again, with the way he plays, he's going to really have to improve in that area, because this is the guy that can easily get to the line a half dozen times or more.
Oh, he's off on both, but look at this. Lopez up and under move, and he's fouled. I believe this is going to go against Bender.
And right now you can see how the aggressiveness for Defiance has really picked up here the last 3 minutes of the second quarter. Anthony Wayne, I think, went 4 minutes here without committing a foul in the second quarter, and that was number 6 for this second quarter. So once again, the Bulldogs go the stripe, but they continue to leave points on the board there as that free throw comes up empty.
That's Lopez's first miss of the season. He was 4 for 4. He'll try and keep it in the 90 percentile, and he does. 1 out of 2. With five potential points left off the board in the first half, though, from the charity stripe for Defiance. They're to within 7. 12 ticks left to go in the half. To 14. We'll take a First Insurance Group timeout. We'll be back with your Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show right after this. You're watching game number 2 of the second annual Grube Classic. Oh, we welcome you back to the Dog Pound. We are at the half, which means it's time for the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. Brent Balbanon alongside Scoop Miller. Our score at the intermission. One of these two teams will earn their way into tomorrow night's championship game of the second annual Grube Classic to face St. Francis of Toledo. And right now, it's a 23-14 lead for Anthony Wayne over the host Defiance Bulldogs. Let's run down your Mark Moats Ford stats. I have points, free throws, and fouls. This man next to me has turnovers. Let's start with the scoring totals. Right now, balance for Anthony Wayne. 7 points for Griffin Pike, the big burly power forward, averages nearly 17 per ball game. 4 points apiece for starting point guard Blake Robeson and power forward Hayden Bender. Jackson Jurenovich has 3 bench points, courtesy of a tray by Nate Peterman off the bench. On the flip side for the Bulldogs, 4 of 5 starters in the scoring column. No bench points so far in the first half. 6 points apiece for Brez Zippel and Brogan Castillo. 1 point each for Khalil Ligon and Antonio Lopez. But the real story there, Scoop, the Bulldogs got to the line. 11 free throw attempts, barely over 50%, 6 out of 11. You like the aggressiveness, but if you get there, you've got to convert.
Well, you're right, especially against this Anthony Wayne team that's so good defensively. They rotate tremendously. They work together. You know, that's one thing about having a good lockdown defender or two. These guys really work in sync. They did a great job of really not allowing Defiance just to catch and shoot in rhythm. They got very few uncontested shots, and I would think that's probably going to continue. So you have to stay aggressive against that defense, but you have to connect once you get to that stripe because points are going to be a premium. That's already pretty obvious.
What do you have for turnovers?
For turnovers for the first half, Anthony Wayne turned it over just 3 times. So that's been a strength of the Generals all season long. Their ball handling is very solid. Meanwhile, Defiance turned it over 7 times. You know, something that's going to have to maybe improve a little bit. But again, I think this is really the first time Defiance has seen this type of pressure defensively. And don't get fooled. You know, Anthony Wayne with that 1-4 record. Remember, they play in that NOL. The NOL last year, you know, won over 60% of their ball games. I think this year they're off to like a 16-5 start in that, at least the Buckeye division. So a lot of good teams in there, and certainly their record's very deceiving.
All right, now still anybody's ball game at 23-14, but the Generals definitely with the wind in their sails as both clubs head to their respective locker rooms. Neither is out right now. Probably a lot of coaching being done, knowing that we expect another physical second half, 16 minutes of basketball. We're going to take a quick timeout. We are back with more of the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show right after this on DCTV Sports. Back with more of the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. We're still about 4 minutes away from resuming play. Somewhat surprised, neither team is out for that quick warm-up that we're normally used to seeing. So let's go ahead and play coach with the headset on. Scoop Miller first. You are Josh Arthur for the Anthony Wayne Generals. You've got a 9-point lead. You've handled arguably the best punch that Defiance threw at you midway through that second quarter. You've got a huge basket at the end of the first half to stretch a 7-point lead to 9. What are you telling your team in the locker room?
Well, you're telling your team you got to keep the foot to the accelerator. You have to continue to do a great job on the glass. You know, they've got some athletes out there, they're physical. That doesn't guarantee your rebounds. You still have to get position. You've got to body up. You've got to go after those rebounds like they're 50-50 balls, secure it. And then I think you try to get it up tempo and go. Try to put a little pressure on this Defiance team that right now in the early stage of the season, I don't think they really have the depth right now to stay at that type of pace. So I think the Generals want to force the pace. But this game, long from over, I think Coach Arthur knows that.
On the flip side, Bryn Lehman, you thought you got within arm's reach, but turnovers, struggles from the free throw line. And again, I don't want to call it a cheap basket, but one that you probably should have fouled on, one that they shouldn't have gotten at least that easy. Maybe took a little wind out of your sails. You still are within arm's reach, but what's your message to your team?
Well, your message is you got to continue to play hard, but you have to be smart about it. You know, just like on that last possession, Defiance had only committed one foul that entire second quarter. They had 3 fouls to give, yet they let that drive happen with 2 seconds left all the way to the rack. I think you have to, commit a foul, make them take it out, make them use a little bit more time. So, again, you got to play smart. But the other thing is they have to find ways to continue to attack the basket. They have to go inside out. They can't come down and just settle for the first 3 they see. They have to find a way to get some second chance points, something that Anthony Wayne did a great job of negating from the Bulldogs that entire first half.
Well, they were late, at least later than usual. I'm guessing a little fire being preached in that locker room by Coach Bryn Lehman. We'll wait and see how they respond. Right now, Anthony Wayne enjoying a 9-point advantage. We'll take our last break of the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show, quarter number 3, when we come back on DCTV Sports. There you get a good look from the camera behind the scoreboard as Defiance and Anthony Wayne, less than a minute from resuming action here, third quarter play. Generals at 1-4, the Bulldogs at 3-3. Right now, the Generals with a 9-point advantage. Anthony Wayne coming off arguably their biggest stinker of the season, and that was on Tuesday night. Coach Arthur was not happy with his team's effort or execution in a 60-30 loss at Findlay. Man, if they come out to prove a point here to open up this one, they definitely have Defiance's attention. If you're Defiance, you talked about it, Scoop, and we talked about it earlier in the first and certainly in the second quarter. The defensive rotation, the assignments by Anthony Wayne, they have sped up Defiance. I don't think they're quite used to moving or having to move this fast. You're not going to get an open look, much less an open step in. Okay, I've got a chance, a second or two to gauge it. Should I take this? Should I put it on the floor? You have to be in this situation thinking what you're going to do ahead of time before you get that basketball, don't you?
Well, you're right, and you just can't replicate this type of intensity and quickness that Anthony Wayne has if you're Defiance coach Bryn Lehman. But what you have to do is you have to make those adjustments from that. So I think we'll see that. And I think also Coach Lehman and certainly Coach Arthur has mentioned their teams that these guys are letting you play, so you have to adjust. You have to step up that aggressiveness. You have to reroute guys. We're okay to make a couple fouls on defense or trying to block out. There's a great backdoor play and a great rejection by Jackson Urinovich. It looked like it was going to be an easy deuce there for Defiance on the set play.
How much does that take out of you, not just physically but mentally, when you get what you want and you think you've executed it perfectly and then out of nowhere that happens?
Yeah, you drew it up. You had a great entry pass. You had a great feed there to the baseline. You've got a strong player taking it to the rack, but just an incredible play by Urinovich.
And again, right there, sped up, Wright got into the air and tried to make a jump pass, and just like that, he's stripped, this time by Zane Kadzia. Wright trying to stay in his jersey. Pike, he's got 7 at the half. He's being dogged by arguably Defiance's most physical athlete. Fade away here, and enter Grant Kinney. His first points of the evening.
Wow, great job by Kinney there to stretch that defense a little bit and to stretch that lead as well.
Castillo in the high blocks, puts it on the floor, turnaround Jay. Boy, did they need that. And it's Coach Lehman calling a timeout. So they trade baskets to open up the second half here. 25-16. And we'll keep it here. All right, so a little bit more aggressive offensively, but you've got to get stops if you're Defiance as well. What have you seen defensively by the Bulldogs to open up the second half?
Well, you can see that they're going to try to really get a little bit more ball pressure here the second half. And, we talked about the ball pressure from Anthony Wayne, how you really can't replicate that in practice. And we should mention, that's a reason you want to play in this type of a tournament.
Yes.
Because you're going to get that type of pressure, not just tonight, but tomorrow, regardless of who you're going to play. So, again, that's why you want to do this, prepare, especially Defiance. You know, that Western Buckeye League, they're going to be playing the likes of Ottawa Glandorf, of course, St. Mary's, Walpock, Van Wert, Shawnee, the list goes on and on. There are no easy nights in WL, and these are the types of games that are going to get you ready.
Inbounding, looks like they will put pressure on the ball. Looks like they're going to come out in full court man pressure. Well, they elect not to trap. Anthony Wayne gave him the opportunity by going to the corner to Kadzia. And they drop back, and Pike, with a rare miscue, just wasn't ready for the pass.
Well, credit the pressure from Defiance. Even though it was almost token there in the backcourt, they didn't trap when they had a chance to. That time, good on-ball pressure forces a little miscommunication. And now Defiance the chance to score points from that defense.
Oh, Ligon with a spin move. He double clutched in midair. It's a loose ball. Zippel to Castillo. Into the paint. Man, is he physical. Can't get the roll. He does draw the foul.
I love that move down low by Brogan Castillo. That time he was up against the trees, it looked like, but you knew where he was going with that. That's what I love about it. That's his DNA. He's going to take that up strong. He's not going to back away from anyone. And that time he draws the contact. So I love the fact that Defiance is already to the free throw line, and there they hit the first of 2.
Castillo on the night is 3 for 3. He's been 50% on the young season. Trying to cut the deficit to 7. And he does. He's got 10 points already.
And that's 10 out of 18. So he's been a big part of that offense here tonight, keeping them within striking distance.
Now Defiance continues to need to play strong defense. They can't afford to just trade baskets here in the second half. Just one basket, though, so far here as we are almost 2 minutes into the third quarter for Anthony Wayne. On the drive, a little hand checking. Kinney picks up a foul. I believe that's going against Ligon. No, it's going to go against, yeah, it is Ligon. I stand corrected.
That time, Anthony Wayne did an excellent job of spreading the floor, trying to get that one-on-one opportunity. That's exactly what Kinney did, and he connects on the first of 2 from the charity stripe.
He's a 50% free throw shooter on the season. Second is up, second is good. 27-18. Right across half court. Castillo, good crossover, stops and pops, can't get the roll.
Urinovich, with that length, he pulls down that rebound. He really didn't have position to get it.
Pike on the drive, releases. Long three, no good. Boy, just continuing to hustle. Urinovich leans in, swatted away from behind by Zippel, and they're going to say out of bounds off of Anthony Wayne.
What a great play there by the junior Zippel. That time he was able to get the rejection. Then it came right down off of Anthony Wayne. So Defiance now here with a little shot in the arm. Trying to get that offense untracked.
Lopez, Ligon on the drive, working against Pike. He's picked it up at the free throw line and needs help. And Zippel a little out of control. Now that ball might have been actually tapped by Anthony Wayne. We got two different calls. The baseline official said it remains Defiance ball. The official on the side said it will be Generals ball. They get together and confer, and it will be Generals basketball. I thought from up here it looked like it might have been touched by Anthony Wayne, but give him credit for getting together and talking it over.
Yeah, you don't see that very often where one guy points one way, the one guy does the other, but I like how they communicated, and boy, that was awfully close either way.
Long three at the top of the key. Ball tapped around, and this time it will be Bulldogs basketball.
Excellent check out that time by Defiance. I love how they're really getting physical there on the glass. They realize they just have to win that second chance points battle, and that's not going to be easy because Anthony Wayne just doesn't give you a lot of opportunities for those second chance points.
Anthony Wayne is a physical ball club. Lopez hands it off. We got our first action of the evening. We got a JV player on the court here. I'm going to have to check. It's Josiah Schlatter, number 21. Pike on the drive, and Castillo reached up late and picks up the foul. His second.
Yeah, that time Castillo did a good job buying up Pike, but he kind of bailed him out. If he goes straight up on that, boy, I think that's an awfully tough shot, even for Griffin Pike. But once you swat that arm down, makes that an easy call. Now Pike will shoot a pair. First one rims out.
Well, there's a little bit of an Achilles heel to his game. It is the free throw stripe. He's only a 58.5% free throw shooter.
This is the guy that leads the Generals in points per game, rebounds per game, steals per game.
He's good on 1 of 2. He's got 8 on the night, and that happens to be the general lead. Schlatter, top of the key. Here's the man that I think could play the role in the second half. If Lopez gets aggressive, right now he's just been content to move the ball around. Rodenberger, a little too hot on the pass. Lopez Johnny on the spot. He's gotten into the lane on more than one occasion. Oh, what a move, up and under, can't finish. And you know what? Keep taking that shot.
That was a sweet move, exactly what you wanted. Unfortunately, the ball just kind of rimmed out.
You can't get gun shy if you're Antonio Lopez. I think he's got more of that in him. He hasn't looked to do it, but as you're down by 8 here with this foul stopping play, do you challenge Antonio Lopez, have a short memory, and stay with it?
Oh, no question about it. I think that's what's going to be a key, you know, the fact that you have to beat that aggressiveness with a lot of ball fakes. That time a good shot fake, drew the defense out of position, the nice step under move. That thing did everything but go in the hoop there.
Robinson hits 1 of 2. It's back to a 9-point Anthony Wayne lead. As much as Defiance keeps trying, they just can't seem to break that 8 to 9 point barrier. Ligon working against Taylor. Wright backs it out. Under 4 left to go in the third quarter. Rodenberger. Ligon is being double teamed. Pike is sagging off. Rodenberger finally drives, and a little too hot of a pass in close quarters. That's a turnover. Here come the Generals at the other end. Pike open for 3, you betcha.
Wow, great inside-out game, and one of the few times tonight that Griffin Pike's able to catch and shoot in rhythm. But, boy, that was string music from deep. Largest lead of the night here for the Generals.
Ligon stops and pops from 16, and it's one and done. Wow. At the other end, the hits just keep coming.
Well, you can see with that last shot just really swelled that confidence. There was no doubt that Pike was going to come down and take the shot.
Did he ever? And all of a sudden, it's a 14-point general advantage. Substitutions, your Bulldog 5 right now. There you see Castillo right in your living room. Schlatter is on the ball right now trying to dog Kudzia. Kudzia, well, he's got some game. He's got some quick. Ziffel, Rodenberger, and Lopez round out the Bulldog 5. Releasing the basketball, Taylor. We've got several subs, and it just doesn't seem to matter.
Well, right now this run continues. Lead swells to 16.
Wow.
This general offense really finding its stride here.
Nice move by Lopez. Goes up. Ball knocked out of bounds.
Boy, that's frustrating too. That time Defiance had good ball movement. Got a nice rim run there from Lopez. But that time the General's able to swat that shot out of bounds.
In between the circles, Rodenberger walking the line and saves the over and back. Lopez gets it right back to the big man who falls down. Castillo, looks like we're going to have a reach and foul, and I believe this is going to go against Taylor.
Yeah, tremendous pressure by Anthony Wayne. Even though they eventually get whistled for it, just a great job. Defiance just really not in sync here at the offensive end, but credit to Coach Arthur's squad. They're really playing hard to defensive end, and there's really been nothing easy all night.
Under 2 minutes left to go, third quarter. Lopez with another nice jab step, drives baseline. Did he get a little help out of bounds? Yes, he did, and that's a blocking foul.
That's still just a common foul, the fourth foul of the quarter for Anthony Wayne. So from here on out, they'll be in the penalty, but we're under the 2 minute mark here.
Taylor picks up his second.
Boy, we're just not used to seeing Defiance on this end of a ball game, especially here at the Dog Pound. You know, last year they ran the table 10-0 here. This year 3-1.
Nice move by Ligon. He's fouled. Nothing is going to come easy in the post here tonight against Anthony Wayne.
I really like this general defense. They're going to make you earn everything. You know, and when you do that, typically good things will happen. But it's when you give up some of those uncontested shots that kind of gets your confidence going, or you're giving up second chance points. You know, these guys have contested everything. And they're the first of two up and in from the stripe. So good job there by Ligon. And right now, Defiance just needs to go on a little spurt here the last $1:47, the third quarter. You're not going to get this deficit caught up by the end of the third quarter, but you do want to get things headed in your favor. Maybe get it down to 10 here, but you still will have 8 minutes to work with.
Well, Ligon hits both of his free throws. He's now 3 for 6 tonight. 98 seconds away from the buzzer sounding. Wow, tough move by Kudzia. Bounce pass trying to go down low to Pike. Boy, he is really muscling up top, inside out, halfway down, that's out. Boy, Castillo skied to pull that down. Take your pick. 3 blue jerseys were around him.
And that's a big play right there, because now the clock will stop and Defiance will walk to the other end, and Castillo once again will head to the stripe to shoot a pair. So great job here. You're going to be behind at the end of 3, but again, you still got plenty of time, so do some things well. And you know, that time I like that possession by Defiance. They nearly had the turnover before the kick out and long 3 attempt, and they're the first one up and in by
That's
Castillo.
also Mason Taylor's 4th foul for Anthony Wayne. And he stays on the court with 1:23 left to go. Second is up for Castillo, in and out. The lead remains 13. Boy, look at this. Athletes. Robinson, did he walk? No, they're going to call a charge. Going to say pushed off.
And once again, Defiance continued to play hard. Pretty good transition defense that time. Did a great job not bailing out Anthony Wayne. And now they'll get another chance to maybe chip away at this 13-point deficit.
Right across the timeline. Zippel to Lopez, little three-man weave in between the circles. And again, you can't be nonchalant. Anthony Wayne all over you.
And right now you have to attack the rack here.
Yes. Zippel almost fell out of bounds. Lopez, look at this. They've got Castillo out beyond the arc now. Splits a double team. Big man driving and gets the basket.
Hell, that time he just wanted a little bit more than anybody else, and he really had no place to go. But again, aggressive play and a nice finish by Castillo. And now a 5-0 run here by the Bulldogs.
And we got a whistle. Timeout being called by Coach Arthur. 31 and 4/10 left to go in quarter number 3. Anthony Wayne still maintaining an 11-point advantage. We're back with more right after this on DCTV Sports. 31 and 4/10 left to go in the third quarter. We welcome you back to the Dog Pound. Anthony Wayne 36, the host Defiance Bulldogs 25. Timeout being called by Josh Arthur. His 1-4 Generals don't look 1-4 tonight as they are trying to play their way into tomorrow night's championship game of the Grube Classic. We'll see if they take some air out of the ball. I don't get that feeling right now with the way they're moving.
No, right now they're going their 1-4 high offense. They'll look to attack. They'll be more than happy to take the last shot, but if they get a layup before that, they'll do it.
They have slowed it down and spread it a bit more. I wasn't sure if they were coming out of that timeout in a specific set. But now with 6 seconds left to go, they got to start moving offense, thinking toward the basket. Backdoor cut, Ligon with quick hands. Quick outlet, they won't get a shot off. But a defensive stop by the Bulldogs, and it gets the Defiance faithful to put their hands together. They still have their work cut out for them, trailing by 11. The final 8 minutes put up on the scoreboard clock. When we come back to the Dog Pound, you're watching the Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Buzz of sounds, you get a good look at the cheerleading squad as the final 8 minutes are all that separate one of these two teams from a spot in tomorrow night's championship bracket of the Grube Classic. Time for a quick peek at your Mark Motes Ford stats summary in that third quarter. First for Defiance, only 2 players did any scoring at all, Castillo and Ligon. Ligon with 4, Castillo with 7. On the flip side, Griffin Pike with 7 all by himself, including a couple of three-pointers. How did both teams take care of the basketball?
Well, Anthony Wayne turned it over 3 times in that third quarter. They now have turned it over just 5 times for the game. Meanwhile, Defiance had 2 turnovers. They're up to 9 for the game. Both teams have scored 4 points from their defense here tonight.
Robeson on the drive. Zip will cut him off, and we have a foul.
Yeah, that time it's going to be a foul on the drive there. Pretty aggressive play. And
they're going to call Wright instead of Zipfel.
Looked like Robeson took one on the knee there. Nice to see him get up, try to walk it off here. Certainly in a little pain right now.
Out at the top of the key, Bryce Anderson seeing his first action of the night off the bench for the Generals. Coach Arthur has done a little bit more subbing here in the second half. Ashton Bostelman also on the court. And they're spreading it. They are spreading the court, and Wright thought he had stripped that ball off of Robeson. The reaction, he couldn't believe it. It will maintain, or pardon me, Anthony Wayne will maintain possession. But does this surprise you? I don't want to call it the stall, but the four corners just to begin the fourth quarter, an 11-point lead here. Does that make you scratch your head a bit?
Well, I think what they're trying to do is trying to get the Defiance defense to commit some fouls, something they really didn't do that third quarter. So I think he wants to try to maybe spread things, create some one-on-one scenarios where they can go downhill.
Robeson's going to try that. Little dipsy doodle and leaves it short. Lopez not just with good defense, but the board. Ligon up top. Lopez cut off. Nice baseline cut by Wright. Misses the bunny. Guess who's there? Castillo.
Castillo's been big all night. Another heads-up play there. He fought for position on that backside. And a rarity tonight, getting second chance points, but it comes at a good time for Defiance.
He's got 15 points on the evening. The deficit cut to single digits as the ball is deflected out of bounds. Look, let's try that again. If Defiance is going to get back into this ball game, it has to start on this end of the court.
You're exactly right. And they've had two near turnovers the last two possessions. I thought Anthony Wayne might have got a break on the time before where they ruled it off Defiance. But either way, the intensity certainly has picked up here. And, boy, these are those one-on-one perimeter battles you have to win when the team spread the floor like this.
Bullet pass to Pike underneath the basket. He barely saves it. Bostelman will pull the trigger on a three. In and out, battle for the ball. Anthony Wayne, oh boy. And that is drawing a serious chorus of boos from the Defiance faithful here. Whew.
Oh, it's just such a war down there for each and every rebound. That time, Pike, he wasn't going to go down without a fight. He tried to extend that rebound and was able to, looks like must have tipped it off a Defiance player. But a huge break there for the Generals, trying to get that lead back to double digits.
Well, right now, Robeson picks up his dribble. Defiance in a tight man-to-man defense. Castillo on Pike. Knocked the ball away. Robeson on the drive, cut off in the low blocks. Bostelman nothing doing. They screen for Pike, and oh my! Castillo thought he had a steal. Instead, it's a foul. And that'll be his third.
Now, right now, this Defiance defense has been fun to watch in this fourth quarter because they're leaving everything out there. They've had near steal after near steal. That time they forced it to the corner, did a great job on Pike when he came off the ball screen. And you're right, Brent, that looked like they might have had a near steal right there. They get whistled for the foul. That's 3 Defiance fouls now in not even 2.5 minutes.
Almost a steal by Zipfel. And they're not looking to push it. They are milking the clock, and Robeson backing it out into the corner.
Yeah, they're really making Defiance expend a lot of energy on the defensive side of things right now. And that's going to be the 4th foul. Is that time, I think they're going to get Lopez for being a little bit too aggressive. So, again, I think that's what that spread out was designed to do by Coach Arthur, get Defiance kind of in foul trouble here. So now Defiance is going to have to play a little bit more honest here because from here on out, Anthony Wayne will be in the penalty. 2 shots from the final 5:20.
Bender slipped. Did he have help? And if it is, Lopez has just picked up his 4th. Well, that's a tough road to hoe if you're Antonio Lopez.
But you know what? I think Brent Lehman's going to live with this, the fact that his guys out there are playing hard.
Extremely.
And that can be a huge lesson. You don't want it to be in a loss. But, wow, when they play at this type of intensity, not only are they a fun team to watch, they've made offense very difficult here for Anthony Wayne, as Anthony Wayne is able to finally get points on the board right there.
First of the fourth quarter comes almost 3 minutes into it. Bender, a 57% free throw shooter, connects on 1 of 2.
Yeah, I think Defiance held them scoreless for nearly 5 minutes there, going back to the third quarter, but yet they only put up 7 points. So that 7-0 run was nice, but not near enough as the lead is still 10 points for Anthony Wayne.
Lopez tested the waters, but kicks it back out. Castillo trying to get the ball in the low blocks, but he's been pushed well off of it. He's going to try and back Kinney down. Fades away and hits a tough shot. 17 on the evening for the Bulldog big man. And Coach Arthur wants a timeout as, again, the lead now cut to single digits. 4:50 left to go in the ball game. Generals 37, Bulldogs 29. Back after this on DCTV. Just under 5 minutes left to go in this ball game. Night one, game two of the 2023 Grube Classic. Host Defiance has cut the deficit to single digits. Anthony Wayne trying to hang on here. Bulldogs out into full court pressure, but they will not trap. They back out again. And boy, Wright, a lot of hand checking, a lot of banging. They're letting him go. Robeson overplaying Ligon. He missed it, went for the steal, and we got a foul on the way up, or is that going to be on the floor?
Well, either way, it's going to be two shots. It's kind of a
foul number
point.
5. Yep. And that's not good news for the Bulldogs. Scoop, that's Brogan Castillo's 4th.
Yeah, and again, you can see Defiance isn't changing things up. That time, a lot of contact in the backcourt, a lot of contact at half court, then finally on the drive. But that free throw rims out for Grant Kinney. And Kinney, just a 50% free throw shooter coming in. But he's a guy that he got some minutes as a freshman for the Generals. And boy, there's another big rebound by Castillo. And now they can chip away even further.
Door opened. We'll see if they can walk through it. Wright just out of control. Dives from his rear end. Now they've got numbers, 3-on-2. Ziffel didn't want any part of it. Gives it away to Castillo. Ziffel, nice pump fake and crossover. He'll go hard to the iron and finishes with the right hand. Those are his first points of the second half.
Sweet move by Ziffel that time. He just went out there and made a play. He had just a quarter of a step on his man. No denying him. Great job there, taking it strong, and it's a 2-possession game.
Lead cut to 6, and Anthony Wayne will back it out and run some clock. Nice job by Wright to cut over the screen. Robeson will back it out. Down the right side of the lane, goes up strong, and he's fouled. Wait and see the guilty party here for Defiance. It looks like maybe number 2, Hutchison.
I think you're right. And right now, Defiance has been on an 11-1 run in the last 6+ minutes, going back to that third quarter. But now a pair coming up. The first one up and in by Blake Robeson.
50% free throw shooter. Averages 5.5 points per ball game. That was his 5th point. He's got them both. Give him 6 on the night and make it a 7-point general lead. Right hands it off. Ziffel now takes the handoff from Lopez, and they continue their weave. Spots up for 3, and that just didn't look good. Low trajectory, off the mark. And Defiance cannot afford empty possessions now this late in the ball game. Robeson on the drive. The Generals content to just back it out.
Yeah, you would almost think the Generals' offense from here on out is going to come from the free throw line.
Yep.
As Defiance is going to probably be challenging everything. There's a great move there by Kinney. As he's able to create that one-on-one, makes a nice finish before Defiance can foul.
It's a 4-0 run, and all of a sudden back up to a double-digit lead. Ziffel in the middle of the paint, had a little help to the ground by Kinney.
And that's not a bad foul right there for Anthony Wayne. That's just their first foul here the fourth quarter. So I like how they didn't wait till he was in shooting motion. They fouled right away once they got that rim run and pass to the paint.
Foul's going to go against Robeson, 3rd for the point guard for the Generals. The inbounds comes to Lopez. Ligon Working against Pike. Oh, great up and under move. Count it, and one coming. Wow.
Sweet move again by Ligon. That time again, you have to offset that aggressiveness by ball faking, and that time a tremendous head and shoulders fake on the shot, and he made that look awfully easy. But boy, that's a beautiful move. And not only does he get the hoop, now he gets a chance for the conventional three-point play. It also gives Defiance a chance to set up some full court pressure here with still 2:46 to go.
He's 3 for 6 tonight, make it 4 for 7, hitting when he needs to. 41-34, now under 3 minutes left to go. But they're not coming out in anything beyond just picking up the basketball.
Yeah, they're not trying to run and jump. It's just straight up man-to-man. Anthony Wayne recognized it. They cleared the floor, allowed their guard to come up really with just no pressure.
3 from the corner, ball being tapped around. Who wants it? Out of bounds off the Generals. Well, do the Bulldogs have one more run in them?
I'm really surprised by that deep three there by Anthony Wayne. The fact that they've got Defiance in the penalty. I think there's too much time just to go hold the ball in four corner, but I think you want to attack the rim and put a little bit more stress on that defense. Right now, huge possession for the Bulldogs here as we near the 2-minute mark.
Down by 7. Lopez with a pump fake on Pike into the paint. Another pump fake and missed everything. He just looks unsure. Scoop, he does a great job of getting there, but I'm not sure if he trusts his shot right now.
Yeah, and that time he had a great pump fake there at the top of the key. I would have liked him seeing him try to draw the foul on that three-point shot. Once he got his defender in the air, you're kind of defenseless. And now Anthony Wayne going to look for those one-on-one situations. There the count starts, so look for the dribble drive.
Pike crosses over into Castillo, fades away from 15. No. Ziffel with the board. Defiance gets another chance.
Boy, they're working hard defensively. That time it pays off. They hold the Generals to one and done.
Castillo cut off. Who wants to attack? Ziffel dishes. Ligon for 3. That ball might have been partially blocked. Ziffel dives out of bounds. He can't save it.
You know, it's just amazing, Brent, how many times that Anthony Wayne's able to get out those three-point shooters. Defiance just not able to catch and shoot in rhythm. That time they had to take a shot a little bit quicker than they wanted to. They do such a great job of closing out under control.
Boy, 2 golden opportunities as they come out in full court pressure. Anthony Wayne calls timeout. We'll break with them. 1:15 left to go in the ball game. Generals 41, Bulldogs 34. You're watching DCTV Sports. Coming out of that first insurance group timeout, just 1:15 left to go. A very defensive-oriented, very physical ball game tonight. But Anthony Wayne with a 41-34 lead. Defiance got back-to-back stops, empty on back-to-back possessions. And Scoop right now, the clock is not their friend.
No, they have to find a way to extend this game. So they're going to come out. I look for them to maybe try to jump double team in the backcourt here. And once it gets into the half court, they have to start kind of picking their poison, start putting some Generals to the foul line. But right now, your Defiance is still a 3-possession game, so you want as many possessions as possible in this last 75 seconds.
1:15. Full court pressure for really the first time tonight by Defiance. Pike will inbound. And they lose a man. Jurenovic coming up and fouling immediately on Kinney. Grant Kinney, a 50% free throw shooter. Tonight, he's 50%, 2 of 4.
Yeah, they've got some options to foul. You know, there's really not a lot of guys out on the floor right now for either team that are 80+% shooters. So, like what they did there, they only allowed 2 seconds to go off the clock. So, right now they're kind of playing a little hack-a-shack here, hoping that the Generals come up empty.
Well, he did on this first.
So we're going to see a lot of offense, defense here and out. Both teams still have 2 timeouts. So at Defiance, you just have to be efficient on offense and then maybe burn a timeout after you score.
You missed them both. Third straight trip that they've gotten a stop. Must score possession here for Defiance. Coach Lehman takes a timeout. We'll break with them. Buck 8 left to go in the ball game. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching DCTV Sports. 68 seconds left to go in regulation. 68 seconds separates one of these two teams from a spot in tomorrow night's Grube Classic Championship matchup against St. Francis of Toledo. 41-34, Anthony Wayne with the lead. I was wondering if he was going to get a little FaceTime here tonight. Have you been naughty or nice this year? All right. Must-score situation here for Defiance. Do you necessarily need a 3 or just the best first look?
No, you need to get points on the board, so you'll take the 2 if the 3 presents itself by all means, but Defiance trying to extend it down their last time out.
That ball tapped all the way back to the far baseline. Wright's got to hustle.
Remember, AW still has 2 fouls to give as well.
Oh, what a screen by Castillo. Wright didn't use it. Lopez for 3. That caught the bottom of it. I'm here to tell you right now, Scoop, if Antonio Lopez gets some confidence, I really think this guy is going to be more than the straw that stirs the drink. This guy, again, I'm not going to say he's going to go off for 20 or 25, but he's got some offense in him that would force opposing defenses to come out and take at least one man away from doubling up on one of those 2 big mountains down low.
But you don't have to convince me of that. I feel exactly the same way, and I think that will come. He's been tested tonight with this quickness by the Generals, and again, it's been that little hesitation, and once he gets over that hurdle, boy, he's going to be a tough guard.
Right now they got a foul. Wright will do it, but with 33 and 9/10 seconds left, Defiance, the frustration, you can see the body language. This one's slipping through their fingers.
Yeah, and right now, Anthony Wayne, exactly where they want to be. Coach Arthur wants to see his guys start hitting some of these free throws to give themselves a little bit of breathing room. The first one is up and in, so great job there by Bender, the senior. One of their top free throw shooters at 57% on the season.
Second is on the way. It is good. Bender 3 for 4 on the evening. He's got 7 points. It's a 9-point advantage. Right on the drive. Baseline cut. Oh, excellent pass by Lopez, and Ligon finishes with the baby shot. They're not going away.
Pass.
24 and 8/10 seconds left to go. We'll take a break as well. Don't go anywhere. You're watching DCTV Sports. Well, there you take a look at the Marco's Pizza scoreboard there, 43-36. The lead is 7 with just 24 and 8/10 seconds left to go. Defiance will come out in full court pressure. Scoop, if you don't get the steal immediately, you have to foul immediately.
There's no question about it. You're still down 3 possessions, and there's 24.8 to go, plus you're out of timeout. So right now, you don't even have a chance to really pick who you're going to foul. You have to foul the first person available, but you'd love to get that steal right here and not have to march to the other end for free throws.
The inbounds, and Lopez has just fouled out of this ball game. Bender will go right back to the charity stripe.
And I like that. The guy that just put 2 in there, comfortable at the line, get the ball in his hands and take your chances from there. And certainly you love to see your seniors there. You know, Bender is a guy that's gotten a lot of minutes since his sophomore season for Coach Josh Arthur. And I like how right now Anthony Wayne has guys on the free throw line. They have 2 fouls to give, so even if he misses a second, I think you try to pound that glass, get that rebound. You're still going to have a couple guys back to not allow a quick transition look by Defiance.
Bender hits his first. He's got 8 points this evening. He drains both, and that's all but a guarantee. 45-36, 9-point lead.
Now you need 3 threes.
Yep.
Nothing else will do.
Well, Zipfel will drive, and that's too hard off the glass, and Anthony Wayne will just dribble out the last 9 seconds. It was a physical, defensive-oriented basketball game, and in the end, just a little too much grip and pike and too much from the free throw line. Matter of fact, every point but 2 for Anthony Wayne in the fourth quarter came from the free throw line tonight, and it all ends up in a 45-36 general victory. They're now 2-4 overall. Defiance falls to a game below 500 at 3-4. So the brackets tomorrow night are set. In the consolation championship, it will be the Bulldogs versus the Spartans of Start. That will be the first game. Then the nightcap, scheduled for a 7:30 tip-off. It will be an all-Toledo affair, as it will be the Generals against the Knights of St. Francis. We will take a First Insurance Group timeout. When we come back, it's the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center postgame show. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the 2nd annual Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Well, we welcome you back. The crowd filing out as the dog pound a little bit more quiet than it was just even 10 minutes earlier. Time for the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center post-game show. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller as day number 1, or night number 1, game number 2 of the 2nd annual Grube Classic is now in the books. The host Defiance Bulldogs, gritty effort, but they come up a little short to Anthony Wayne as the Generals with a 45-36 victory. Let's break it down. Take a look at your Mark Moats Ford stats summary. Let's start with points. Leading everybody, Brogan Castillo, the starting center for the Bulldogs, finishes with 17. He had 6 at the half. We don't have rebound totals, but Scoop, he has to be close, if not coming up with a double-double tonight. He was everywhere.
He really was. I had him unofficially for 11 rebounds, but again, he just left everything out there. What an impressive performance in a losing cause here tonight.
One other player in double figures. As a matter of fact, no surprises. The 2 leading scorers on average were the 2 leading scorers for Defiance again tonight. Khalil Ligon, the power forward, finished with 10 points. He had 9 of those in the second half. 8 points for Brez Ziffel. That's 4 over his average. 1 point for Antonio Lopez. No bench scoring this evening for the Bulldogs. On the flip side, All 5 starters in scoring figures for the Generals. Griffin Pike, a couple beneath his average. He averaged coming into this one 16.4. He finishes with 14. Nobody else in double figures. Although close, Hayden Bender going 5 for 6 from the charity stripe in the fourth quarter. That to add to 4 points in the first half. He finished with 9. Half a dozen points each for starting point guard Blake Robeson and off guard Grant Kinney. And then 3 bench points, a deuce off the bench for Mason Taylor, 1 of 2 from the charity stripe for Will Robinson. How did both teams take care of the basketball?
This is where the game may have been won for Anthony Wayne. They turned it over just 7 times on the night, and Defiance coming in had forced teams to just north of 13 turnovers per contest. I thought Defiance really got after it in that fourth quarter where they were able to outscore the Generals 11 to 9. And a lot of those 9 points came at the end when they were fouling, but just wasn't enough. But meanwhile, Defiance on the night had 11 turnovers, and probably a number they can live with, but some of those turnovers were some light ball turnovers that led to some runouts. And again, credit to Anthony Wayne, just 7 turnovers. That'll win you a lot of ball games.
We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll put a wrap on the Brunswick Eye and Comtech Lens Center postgame show. We'll also have our Steichman Automotive Group Player of the Game. Don't go anywhere. You're watching DCTV Sports. As the Generals advance to the championship game. Bulldogs will still have a game tomorrow night. It'll be the consolation championship as they'll take on the Start Spartans. And Start probably going to be in a foul mood as well, Scoop, because they lost their first game of the season earlier tonight against the Knights. So even though it's the consolation championship, both teams have some pretty good athletes, and I think that one to start off the night should be very, very fun.
Yeah, that's for a consolation game. That's going to be a tournament atmosphere. That's going to be a physical game. Both these teams want to right the ship after tough nights tonight, but all 4 of these teams are going to feel it tomorrow morning. Wow, these guys got after it here in both these games here this evening.
One last piece of unfinished business before we put a wrap on this one. Time for our Steichman Automotive Player of the Game. I know it's a losing cause, but Brogan Castillo had a man-sized ball game tonight. 17 points. Unofficially, Scoop, you had him for 11 rebounds, and I'm looking down here. He only missed 1 free throw. He almost put this team single-handedly on his back, but what a performance by the senior tonight.
It really was, and that's what I liked about Brent. He really tried to put this team on his back. He did all he could to will his team back in it. You know, if I'm Coach Brent Lehman, you know, Castillo's a guy, I wanted him to get 20 shots a game because he's a tough guard out there with his physical strength in there. He came in as a leading scorer, leading rebounder, leading shooter for Defiance, and he did not hurt those numbers tonight. But again, he's the type of guy, he leaves everything out there. If they can get that type of effort from every guy out there in every position for 32 minutes, this Defiance team has an upside.
Again, Brogan Castillo, I know he would trade it in for a win, but he is our Steichman Automotive Group Player of the Game. That's going to do it for our coverage here this evening. 6 o'clock tomorrow night, we'll have the Consolation Championship. 7:30, the scheduled tip-off for the championship. Game number 1, it will be Defiance versus Start. Game number 2 has a Toledo flavor to it as Anthony Wayne and St. Francis will take on each other. A big thank you going out to our crew here tonight. Again, Will, John, Alex, Josh down at the scorer's table. For Scoop Miller, my color announcer, I'm Brent Balbinot. Big thank you going out to all of our underwriters helping make our broadcast possible. Folks, if you enjoy our coverage of Defiance and area high school sports, please patronize those businesses. Walk through those doors. Let them know how much you appreciate it. And as always, a big thank you to you, the fan, for tuning in. Final score again this evening, Anthony Wayne 45, Defiance 36, You've been watching live coverage of the second annual Grube Classic on DCTV Sports.